Good afternoon, families, and welcome to Parent and Family Orientation. My name is Heather Deer, and I am the Assistant Director of Parent and Family Programs. You may know me from the occasional post on our Facebook group, emails you've received regarding campus updates, or one of the many regional welcome events we hosted this summer. Thank you for joining me this Sunday afternoon. I'm sure this has been an eventful week for you and your family. Many of you have helped your student pack up their belongings and have made the journey here to William & Mary to say see you later. I hope your time with us on campus and in Williamsburg was well spent. Some of you may have spent the last few weeks helping your student prepare for living and working remotely this semester. It is truly a family endeavor to help our students establish an environment that allows them to flourish during this period of transition. Thank you for supporting your student as they've made decisions best for their health and well-being. To all families, both near and far, welcome to our William & Mary family. I know I'm not the first to welcome you, but welcome nonetheless. William & Mary views our relationship with you and your student as a partnership. Through this partnership, we seek to create the optimal support system for every student. Our partnership begins here at Parent and Family Orientation, where you will gain helpful information to support you and your student during their first year and beyond. Around here, we like to say those who come here belong here, and this applies to you as well. I'm excited to watch you embark on this journey as a William & Mary family. Before we get started, I want to set the stage for our program today. Few of us could have imagined the circumstances in which you are sending your student off to university. What hasn't changed is our commitment to supporting your students' academic, personal, and professional endeavors. I hope you're able to witness our commitment as a community during today's program. Our program today consists of 5 presentations from a variety of faculty and staff across disciplines. You can follow along on your orientation schedule to get an idea of information we will cover this afternoon. But don't worry, I've built in time for us to stretch our legs and, more importantly, grab a snack. We're joining you this afternoon from the Sadler Center, and we will begin by hearing from Mark Sykes, the Vice Dean for Student Success, who will lay the foundation for your involvement as a family member. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Heather. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Sykes. I have the pleasure to serve as the Vice Dean for Student Success, and I'm really excited to welcome you, our partners, in the success of your child's educational journey. I know that a lot of people this afternoon are going to say congratulations, and I don't think we can say it enough. This is an incredible university. This is an incredible family you're joining. I'm excited that you're a part of it. You are at the center for their success. I really believe that you should take a moment and give yourself a round of applause. Think about where we are truly at this moment, and none of it could have happened if they didn't have people in their lives to help them be successful. I hope you will hear during our presentation this afternoon many aspects of success. The first thing I want to tell you about is that we are a family. We are a family of scholars. We care for one another. We watch out for one another. We support each other. The first family I'd like to introduce to you this afternoon is Jeff and Mary Cushion. They have been an integral part in helping the Parent and Family Council achieve many of its goals. Okay, are you guys ready to get started? Today, nearly 4,000 family members will be joining the William & Mary community. I will engage with you and consider you to be their best resource. I will work closely with you and your student. This afternoon, I will lay a foundation for your experience, for both family orientation and how it parallels what your students are experiencing and have already experienced for the last few days. You will hear about our relationships with you with us and with your students, and seriously about the relationships and the resources that are available to your students. To start our fall time together, I'd like to show you a short video of William and Mary, now in its 4th century.
Every now and then, someone or something extraordinary comes along that changes everything. Every now and then is every day at William and Mary. Founded by a king and queen and forged by revolution, we were an international institution at our onset and America's first university. Our loyal sons and daughters became our nation's founding fathers, university presidents and chancellors, head coaches, titans of industry, entertainment legends, and pioneering scientists. Well into our 4th century, we refuse to act our age. If we glance backward, it's only to catch a glimpse of where we started, contemplate how far we have come, and to gauge how far we still have to go. Here, we do not live in the shadows of the giants of American history that we helped to shape and who helped to shape us. We stand on their shoulders, reaching higher, looking further, and leading the way forward. Not just every now and then, but now and evermore. At William and Mary, we strive to be more than we are and to do more than we've ever done. To be a place where history happens every day, and to be a university for the bold.
I have seen that video so many times over the last few years, and every single time it gives me goosebumps to think about where we are in this moment, how we are thriving as an institution, especially in our 4th century. I hope you and your students will have a chance to attend or did attend one of the in-person early decision receptions. I hope you had an opportunity to attend one of our many virtual summer receptions we hosted this summer. Don't worry, there are many opportunities out there in the future that will include you and a member of the parent team, like our virtual family lounge tomorrow. I hope you were able to join us. Information is right there on our website, wm.edu/families. All right. I'm excited to be here with you, and let's get started. There are some nuts and bolts things that I wanted to cover, and I really am going to need your help. I want to mention our relationship with you and how I want to make our experience as well-rounded as possible. The first thing that's most important to know is, do I have the ability to contact you? Have you received an email from Mark at WM or families at WM since you joined the William and Mary community? If you haven't, it means I don't have your email. And I'm hoping that you want to give it to us. No, I'm not going to sell it to others on campus. I'm not going to give it to third-party vendors. It is a way that I can communicate official information to you. It's a way that we have an opportunity to connect together and that you know exactly what's going on at this university. Especially during COVID, we've communicated more regularly. And it's important that you have the information. Now, the easiest way to do that is to have your student log in. We're going to talk about the personal information questionnaire in just a few minutes. Have them log in. They can navigate to the Family tab. Together, you can see exactly the information that we have on you families. And you can easily provide your email address to us and change it at any time. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that. Some things that have changed over the last several months. I think that's kind of obvious. But some of the things that we have done is to ensure a community of scholars that is built on trust, a community of scholars that is built on each other, and recognizing that each and every one of us need to be part of the COVID response to ensure that we are healthy together. The first slide that is new on the personal information questionnaire that your students have already committed to and completed is our healthy commitment. There are a whole bunch of new technologies that are being deployed this year that I'm actually pretty excited about. I'm going to show you some information now about one of the new tools that we have available. As you can see on the screen, we have a new technology and a lot of stuff that's being deployed to help keep your students safe. One of them is the COVIDWise app. It uses both the Android and Apple platform to share Bluetooth signals between devices, even if it's in your pocket. Students who use the app will share a random numerical ID code that will be trashed after 2 weeks, as soon as it gets 14 days old. This is one of the tools that will help us trace any possible virus spreads via mobile device. We are the first in Virginia to deploy such a brand new application using the technology that you've seen on the news that Apple and Android platforms have worked together on. Oh, and by the way, Virginia is the very first state in the United States to use this product. This is innovation, William and Mary. I just wanted to let you know that we like to be first at some things. Now, the other thing that I wanted to let you know is you don't need to take notes during this presentation. It will be available. It is being recorded. I'm not feeling vulnerable at all. It will be live. It will be present. It will be in the ether very soon. So please, as we go through some of these things, no yawning. I need you to pay attention, and then we will get through there. Here we go. First thing we're going to talk about is our emergency alert system. This is an item that your student has already completed. All of the information that I'm going to talk about, again, is inside the personal information questionnaire. The system is a mass notification system, and it sends an automatic voice message and text to up to 5 devices. Now, the first one is reserved for your student. When we first rolled this out a few years ago, some of our students put your telephone number in the first slot, and you were getting all kinds of calls about weather emergencies and classes are delayed, and we really don't want to subject you to all of the messages that you may not need. The other 4 are reserved for your student, your mobile number, home number, and work number. It calls all of them every single time. So keep this in mind as you're programming that information. And since your student has already completed it, my recommendation is to go back and say, hey, let's look and see what numbers you put on there. I work at the Pentagon. I may not want to call in the middle of the day, knowing that classes are delayed for whatever reason. So please make sure you're talking to your students about what they put in there. Second question I always get is, when do we use it? We use the system when there is a campus-wide emergency, a natural disaster, or a weather-related closing. The university changed the system to only notify your student if the one chance a year we get a ½ inch of snow and we need to close the entire Williamsburg area for at least 12 hours. Now, if something happened where there was something that happened on campus and there is no threat to your student, let me make up something. Somebody went to the Wawa and took bottles of water and cheese and ran off with it. And they left campus in their car and they're headed to Newport News. We would notify the campus community about that, but we wouldn't probably send that to the emergency alert system to notify you in the middle of the night that somebody took some items from Wawa. Of course, I'm being a little silly with that example, but I just wanted to give you a sense of kind of how we do things. If there is a threat, or if it's an ongoing issue, we will communicate to all numbers listed in the emergency. All right, does that make sense? Okay. If you do want more information regarding our mass notification system or other COVID-related safety and technology, tune in later. Our police chief will be here this afternoon and we'll talk to you a little bit more about campus safety, and she's a pretty darn good speaker. So can't wait for that. The second thing I wanted to communicate to you is our emergency evacuation plan and some of the changes that we implemented this year. You'll notice that before, especially our new families, we ask you to complete this by May 31st. And guess what? All of your students actually did it on time. Thank you for keeping them focused on their requirements to start William & Mary. We realize that it's really important, especially during this time, that we have two different types of evacuation plans. One is a short-term evacuation plan, 1 to 10 days, typically weather-related. We do live in Hampton Roads. We did have a tropical storm last week that came through this area. Luckily, we only lost power at our house for just a few hours. Many of us here in Williamsburg didn't lose power. But we've had tropical storms in the past that have caused us, or hurricanes, that have caused us to have to evacuate campus. So it's really important that we know where our students are and what their plans are. Number one reason, we want families to know what's going on. You should know what their plan is, especially if there is a weather-related closing and evacuation. Sometimes the mobile lines get tied up and you can't get your student right away. So it's important for us to know what's going on. Another technology that we're deploying this semester is in the mobile app suite that allows students to tell us that they're leaving campus. This is really only used when an evacuation order has been issued, especially for the short-term evacuation, and I'll mention in a second the long-term evacuation. It is a very simple ask that asks, have you evacuated? Have you left campus? And you'll see on the screen that it designates short-term evacuation plan, long-term evacuation plan, or other. The only thing that we are going to track is, did a student tell us they've left campus after the evacuation order has been ordered? That's all we want to know. It helps us know who is still in Williamsburg, where students may be, and if they need our help. The long-term plan that we have in the evacuation portal is to let us know what would you do if we did have to evacuate campus for longer than 10 days. It asks students, do you have everything that you need to be academically successful? Do you have your medications? Did you get your school books? Did you leave your computer, iPad or iPhone, never the iPhone, in your residence hall? It's really important that we know that information. Okay, you still with me? The next part that's very important for us to know is, do we have the ability, now that we have your email address, and we know that most of you together or exclusively are helping fund education for our students. But I have to tell you that they are in the driver's seat for information. It's really important that your students verify what releases are approved to my office. Under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, this releases allow my office and others to have conversations with you regarding your students' academic, financial, and conduct status. Please keep in mind, we cannot speak with you if we do not have a release from your student. I have to tell you that every year, especially after the first paper or the first quizzes are announced, there's a whole bunch of students that go right back into the personal information questionnaire and change those permissions. We check them every single time someone calls to make sure that your student has said, I can release information to you. So please make sure that you say, and you know what your children are doing related to those releases. All right, I'm going to keep moving forward. The next confusing piece of technology, actually this one's not very confusing, but the next thing with an additional security measure to protect the identity of your children's information is we have a passphrase. In the personal information questionnaire, there is a section that asks, who would you like to designate to be able to call as my parent, my guardian, our spouse, to be able to get information about your student? We call that a passphrase or a secret word. When you call the registrar's office or the bursar's office or financial operations, financial aid, the dean of students' office, or any designated office on campus that is authorized to look this information up, they will ask you what your passphrase is. And no, it's not your email address or your student's passphrase. Every single member of the family has their own passphrase. They're all between 4 and 12 characters. When I was doing a presentation recently, you can easily go in, click it, send yourself your student can send their parents a new password. Yesterday, mine was GOAT. So it's not a long string of characters, it's 4 to 12 characters. Okay. We've talked a little bit about passphrase, we've talked a little bit about FERPA releases, we've talked a little bit about the personal information questionnaire. Let's keep going. Here's some more systems that I'm going to talk to you about. One is Proxy, and the other is eServices. Proxy is a way that we are able to share certain information with you that you are allowed to log in to our system and get that information with your student's permission, of course. You have the ability to look up local address of your student schedule, any account holds, or final grades. Again, all with the permission of your student. There is information on wm.edu/families spelling exactly out how you can get connected through Proxy. eServices is where you pay your bills. It gives you the ability to look and pay your bill, make deposits, because I'm sure that all of that money that you have loaded on your student ID for your student is probably going to be spent in laundry and at the Wawa probably in the first couple of days. And I'm being silly about that. Parents ask me all the time, how much money should I put on there? When do I get my refund? When do I pay bills? As long as your student authorizes you to do so, they can set you up for a monthly communication that talks about what's going on with their bill, what is outstanding, what are pending charges, everything that you need to know without having to call somebody in student accounts. So I really encourage you to set up Proxy and eServices. Now, above all, I wanted to engage you as family members in the way that best supports your students at our university. There are other ways that you can connect. Just because you are not here taking classes with them, and let me be clear, you shouldn't be here taking classes with them. You should be home, watching from afar, texting them daily, making sure that they have money. All of the things that your students would tell you is important to them. But we have a lot of things that we offer you. We have a parent Facebook group. Yes, we moderate it and approve it. That Facebook group has been fairly popular this summer. I'm sure many of you have already seen everything on there under the sun. But it is a way for you as family members to engage with each other. I hope that we can remember the value of William & Mary and why we provide the opportunity for parents to communicate with each other. It's not to tear each other down. It's to share pictures. It's to share emotion. It's to share thoughts. It is a place to share frustrations. But I hope that we do it in a civil manner and respect the differences of others. That's very important to William & Mary, and I hope it is to you too. Next, I'd like to talk about our relationship with your student. Again, all of these topics are going to be addressed during the new student orientation program that your students are already participating in. One of the things that I think is most important to me, especially to communicate to parents of students, this is your first student going to college. It's really important that they create a balance. We have a primary value of that here. It is the best way for them to maintain their well-being and to equip them with the opportunities so that they can take advantage of everything that we have to offer. The William & Mary curriculum, as you will hear from the academic deans in a few minutes, is rich in its breadth and its depth. I encourage students to strive for balance as they find their passion inside the classroom or on their computer from home or in whatever means that we can connect this semester. The thing that I will tell you that I like to always share with families, we chose William & Mary. You chose this university for what we are, who we are, and why we are. I know that this is a temporary opportunity for us to possibly have to deliver your education in a way that is not exactly how you envisioned it to be. But nothing has changed about our university, about who we are, about why we're here. The relationship with your faculty members has not changed. The relationship and your ability to connect with administrators and get your answers that you seek hasn't changed. We are here to ensure that your student successfully finishes a William & Mary degree in 4 years. That's what we're here to do. And so I know this is not exactly what we wanted to do for a few months, but the thing is that as a dean in the Dean of Students office, our children are going to be very resilient. They're going to be adaptable. They're going to be able to truly work with ambiguity, with change. All of the skills that are so vital for us to be successful in life. I'm sure you can agree that on the other side of this, we are going to have incredible, resilient students with a valuable William & Mary credential. When your students are outside of the classroom and they're joining organizations, a lot virtually and hopefully very soon in person, I'm sure that they will choose no less than 10 organizations. And that's maybe a little bit too much. Everybody wants to do everything on their first day here at William & Mary. Take time to find yourself. Find that balance. Join 2 or 3 organizations this semester. Be involved in them. Dive deep into who they are, what they're about. Don't join 10 organizations and be scattered and show up for meetings and not have a meaningful experience. It's really important that you think about all of the rich opportunities that are available. They don't all have to do them on day 2. Now, your students are going to hear about all of the pretty incredible research opportunities available to them with their faculty. Our deans are going to share a little bit of information soon about some of those really neat things that I wish I got to do. I wish I could go back and take a first-year seminar with some of these blended approaches to learning, using technology, different realms, and connections. They won't let me. That would kind of be awkward, having the dean sitting in classes with your first-year students. It sure would be nice, though. Okay, of the entire presentation, this is a little bit of the serious one. Having new responsibilities away from home sometimes can be challenging, especially when they are learning to manage unstructured time. Some new students will struggle particularly with self-discipline. Some will choose to consume alcohol. Yes, it does happen in Virginia. Even if you're under 21, students try a lot of different things. New students may feel that pressure to drink alcohol at social events with a mask, socially properly distanced. They may feel that not doing so is irregular or wrong. I need to tell you that your peers think differently. 60% of first-year students last year reported that they never drank. And even fewer reported that they drank excessively. There are efforts in place to educate your students on the effects of alcohol. We have an incredible program that's related to our health and wellness thematic area within Student Affairs, all engaged to help educate your students and you about choices that students make. Let's focus a moment on hazing prevention. And I'm actually going to read this because I really want you to hear me when I say this. Hazing is unproductive, hazardous, and has no place in university life, whether on or off campus. Hazing is defined as any action taken or situation created intentionally to produce mental or physical discomfort, embarrassment, harassment, or ridicule. The university treats these subjects with incidents of hazing very seriously. The Hazing Prevention Coalition is a combination of administrators and students who work together to empower our community in the education and prevention of hazing. By adhering to the value of mutual respect, we can work together to support safer, healthier means of member acclimation and integration. We have policies regarding hazing, alcohol abuse and use, and as we focus on many other areas in student life, all to ensure a safe and vibrant community. The university does not tolerate discrimination of any kind against any member of the William & Mary community. This includes harassment or violence of any nature. In conjunction with our values of respect and safety, we provide training, education, advocacy to all members of our community. I continue to stand by the commitment to have a safe and inclusive learning environment, regardless if you're on campus or you're home taking classes remotely. I provide students, faculty, and staff with the resources and education on sex discrimination. There are student-led groups that provide prevention education, and there is a dedicated space for community members to learn about these resources and seek support. Your student will hear about all of these resources in detail during new student orientation. But as their family members, I believe it's really vital that you also hear from me and hear what we value and what we don't. Our avenue is to ensure a safe community where every person is treated with respect. It's through the development of the enforcement of the Code of Student Conduct. We have developed what I believe are basic standards and expectations that every member of our community must abide, including the Healthy Together commitment. The scope and expectations ranges across the different topic areas that I've already discussed a little bit. I know this is the serious slide, but this is where I wanted to make sure that you know everything that your student is expected to know and abide by during their time at William & Mary. If students make choices that lead to their interaction with my office, please rest assured that this process and practices are fair and consistent with our values, especially delivered with care and compassion. The Code of Conduct is one of two codes that govern life at William & Mary. The Code of Conduct also includes our sexual misconduct policy, which is one of many responses the university follows related to any Title IX allegation. Our honor code, which is the oldest honor code in the nation, creates an environment that allows students and faculty to learn and live in this vibrant community of trust. I want to repeat that. Our honor code, the oldest in the nation, run by students, creates an environment that allows students and faculty members to learn and live in a community of trust. The Honor Code, again, driven by the Honor Council, which consists of 6 peer-elected councils. The councils hold each other accountable when it comes to lying, cheating, and stealing, whether it is supposed breach of the code happens in a student's academic or personal life. My office provides training and support for the councils, but the students drive the process. I think that's really important for you to know. Your students, our leaders, drive the process. Okay, I think that was the most dose of seriousness that I could deliver at the moment. Now that we've talked really about the heavy stuff, I want to make sure that we talk about the areas of support, especially while I have you focused on me for just a few minutes. We will provide support and resources across many areas. The Division of Student Affairs is led by our Vice President, Ginger Ambler. She truly embodies and reinforces the message that we are here to create an environment where students flourish. Spanning 5 thematic areas, the division is designed to support students and develop them as human beings, as volunteers, as citizens, as leaders, as authentic individuals. The Division of Student Affairs' purpose is really to create a learning environment where community is strengthened and individuals flourish. As you can see from this slide, there is a wide variety of options available for leadership exploration, options for students to live and grow at William & Mary. And notice there's one area that I've saved for last. Are you ready? It's the student success area. The programs and offices of the student success bridge the gap between the out-of-classroom experience and the co-curricular experience in a way that allows students to focus on their well-being, their success, as they progress towards the William & Mary degree. My office features a wide variety of student services, including parent and family programs. That one I'm a little bit more familiar with, kind of like it. Student conduct processes, I've already mentioned. Student accessibility services provides accommodations and access for students. Care support services helps your students in times of crisis. They can be your advocate, your student's advocate. They provide resources and support to matters dealing with crisis. Families can utilize this resource and share their concerns about your students as well. Academic enrichment oversees our Tutor Zone, our peer tutoring resource center that has met with astonishing success from both the students engaged in the program and the faculty who send and have a direct impact in their classes. Enrollment support, another way that we support students. The Center for Student Diversity is a vital link where students from diverse backgrounds can find a sense of community, a sense of belonging. Everyone can learn from the diversity of our community. Student Success strives to enhance the success of students both in and out of the classrooms to create a climate on campus that is inclusive and welcoming to all. And finally, The Haven is a peer-based, confidential, welcoming, and inclusive resource center for those impacted by sexual violence, sexual harassment, relationship abuse, intimate partner violence, stalking, gender-based discrimination, or any Title IX violation. This service is confidential. It is available to your students. The thing that I think is most important for you to know out of our presentation this afternoon is that we're here to help. Regardless of what your student may need, There is someone here that can help them through any situation, provide advice, be their advocate, help them through a difficult situation, to truly help them be successful. That's the most important thing if you remember nothing else this afternoon. I want you to remember that Mark, standing on the stage, said that we are here to help, and we can. Another really important milestone and tradition at William & Mary is Family Weekend. This year will be the 54th anniversary, and we'll have a lot of opportunities for families virtually to help celebrate this milestone. This year, Family Weekend is planned for September 25th through the 27th. For those parents who are attending virtual orientation, especially over the next couple of nights, you will see much more information about Family Weekend. You will see a variety of sessions planned just for you. I have some neat things that I think we're going to do this Family Weekend. I hope that you will tune in with us virtually and connect with us as we celebrate another year of families. Okay, that was pretty much my program this afternoon. I hope it was informative. I hope that you stayed awake during most of it, and I hope that you remembered a couple of things. We care about your students. We value being part of this incredible community. We want you to thrive just as much as your students, and we will be here to help them every step of the way. It has been my true pleasure being here with you this afternoon, and I hope to meet many of you very soon. Thanks, everyone.
Mark, thank you for that informative presentation. I know many of you are probably wondering if this session will be recorded, and don't worry, a recording of all orientation presentations will be uploaded at the conclusion of parent and family orientation. Mark mentioned so many resources that are critical to you as a family member of a William & Mary student. You can access these resources centrally on the Parent and Family Programs website. Access anytime at www.wm.edu/families. Our next session will focus on the liberal arts vision. Every new student entering William & Mary begins as an undergraduate in the arts and sciences. Our faculty have structured the undergraduate program so that your student will learn broadly, learn deeply, and gain the experience and skills that shape independent thinkers, engaged in the world around them and prepared to assume a leadership role in their chosen field. I've gathered a few experts to discuss this curriculum with you. Please welcome Dr. Janice Zeman, Dean of Undergraduate Studies, Dr. John Donahue, Dean for Educational Policy, and Sally Markello, Associate Provost and University Registrar.
Hi, my name is Janice Zeman, and I'm the Dean for Undergraduate Studies for Arts and Sciences. I would like to extend a very warm welcome on behalf of the faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences to the parents, the families, and friends of the incoming class of 2024. We are very excited to welcome you and your student to William & Mary and to invite you to share this journey that we will take together over the next 4 years. Admittedly, this is not the way any of us envisioned starting this academic year, but we firmly believe that we are one family, and together we will creatively and resolutely make this a rewarding and remarkable year for your student. In spite of the unusual circumstances, I hope that you have taken some time to experience some justifiable pride in your students' accomplishments. It may also be a time of reflection for you, perhaps reminiscing about various points in your student's life and wondering where the time has gone. I recall when I moved my son into university, and it was a time of so many emotions. There was excitement, pride, joy, relief, but also a sense of loss and anxiety about what may be ahead. Perhaps some of you are having a mix of these feelings today and over the last couple days as well. We, as faculty members and administrators, are keenly aware of the awesome responsibility we take on when families entrust us with their student in this next chapter of their life. This is even more the case this year. We view our responsibility as helping your student to identify and realize their academic and personal potential, since the two are so closely intertwined. Sometimes we'll do this with a praise for a job well done, But sometimes it's going to be giving feedback that perhaps the student has never received before and may not be all that welcomed. In either case, we are working together with your student to try to get the best out of him or her. So how do we do this? We provide the necessary infrastructure to help your student in terms of their active and successful engagement with various learning opportunities, both remotely and in person. To name just a few, we've involved students from the outset with excellent academic advisors, an exciting general education college curriculum that facilitates learning across arts and sciences, an engaged world-class faculty ready to challenge and stimulate your students' intellectual curiosity, and a model where we teach skills and knowledge in an intentional way to build on prior learning. These three alums give a brief snapshot of the variety of professions available from a liberal arts and sciences education. We have Jill Ellis, 1988, Warren Buck, class of 76, and Ellen Stofan, class of 83. So what does your student have in common with these alums? A liberal arts and sciences education provides a set of skills and knowledge that transfer well into a variety of career paths that employers recognize as important to success. So some of these skills that your student will learn are critical thinking, analysis and evaluation, writing and oral communication skills, problem-solving skills, creativity, teamwork and collaboration skills, leadership, awareness and acceptance of cultural differences, integrating knowledge from a variety of different disciplines, becoming lifelong learners. All in all, they will develop flexible skills that will offer versatility. Finally, a liberal arts and sciences education expects faculty and students to solve real-world problems through exposure to a wide range of subjects and to people. For example, a few years ago, an upper-level computation and operations research class was asked to develop a computer algorithm that matched incoming freshmen with pre-major advisor based on their stated academic interests. This task provided the students with an engaging, relevant issue to solve, and it provided my team in the Office of Academic Advising a solution that facilitated and enhanced the pre-major advising match process. So based on this solution, your student is going to meet with their pre-major advisor or faculty member either today, later today, or tomorrow, based on the work done by this student team. Another example of how the liberal arts approach is translated on campus is through the Neurodiversity Initiative, which is for the most part a non-academic initiative. So neurodiversity is both a philosophy and an emerging civil rights movement that acknowledges and appreciates the wide range of brain differences rather than focusing on disability. Individuals who are on the autism spectrum, have Tourette's, ADHD, and other such neurological differences have many areas of exceptional strength as well as areas of challenge. The Neurodiversity Initiative is comprised of students, faculty, administrators, and staff from diverse fields of study with diverse backgrounds. 4 faculty and 1 scholar in residence co-teach a class on neurodiversity. This class, the faculty members include a historian, a neuroscientist, a social psychologist, a clinical psychologist, and then John Elder Robeson, who is an autism advocate and New York Times best-selling author. He is our neurodiversity scholar in residence. The neurodiversity student group has an active presence on campus that encourages increased awareness and acceptance of neurodiversity on campus. And it provides a venue for students who are interested in learning about neurodiversity and allows neurodivergent students to meet others and enact positive change. And finally, students also have the opportunity to participate in research in faculty labs that are focusing on studying socio-emotional and cognitive aspects of neurodiversity. This brings me to perhaps one of the best aspects of the William & Mary educational experience. This is the opportunity for students to become engaged in research, which of course is defined differently depending on the field. At many universities, research is reserved just for graduate students, but at William & Mary, this is one of the hallmarks of our liberal arts education, and it's a gateway for developing and honing the skills learned in the classroom. Now, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are still continuing to involve students in research, although some of the tasks now have been modified to increase social distancing and safety considerations. I'm a developmental and clinical psychologist, and I study children's emotional development. I routinely have undergraduate students and master's students in my research lab, and frankly, it's one of the most rewarding aspects of being a professor. The one-on-one and small group mentoring, either in person or now on Zoom, is a natural venue for engaged, high-impact learning. In my lab, we interview children at various ages and also their parents and friends about how they express and respond to each other's sadness, worry, and anger. We look at how social context affects the development of emotion regulation and the relations with various forms of psychopathology such as anxiety and depression. Students are involved in all aspects of research, starting with the conceptualization of the problem, figuring out how to ask the different questions, interviewing children, entering the data into computer systems, analyzing the data, and then communicating the findings. We are currently in the process of figuring out creative ways in which we can collect data from family and children that do not involve in-person contact. Students also have the opportunity to present their research at various local and international conferences, which have pretty much all pivoted to being online this coming year. Typically, conference presentations are reserved for graduate students, but at William & Mary, we have many avenues for students to attend conferences and to present their work. It is exciting for the students to hear experts in their fields present their cutting-edge research and also to begin the networking process that is so helpful for students who are wanting to go on to graduate school. So it's important to emphasize that the skills learned conducting research, such as creative thinking, problem solving, hypothesis testing, attention to detail, and many others, provide a solid basis of skills that can be applied to almost any career, not just careers in academia. We apply the liberal arts and sciences perspective to more than just campus and our immediate backyard. Students have the opportunity to study abroad for a summer or semester or study away, which involves a shorter time frame and is integrated into a course taught on campus. William & Mary students are also very dedicated to serving the various needs in their communities, both locally and globally. I've been fortunate to have 5 of my research students gain funding through the William & Mary Charles Center for Research Excellence to participate in joint service learning and research opportunities in different villages in Ghana. They spent part of their time teaching at a local school or orphanage, and then they also spent the other part conducting research that was related to our lab. From this project, we were able to publish the findings in a peer-reviewed journal. The student pictured here, it was my first honor student back in the mid-2000s and is now an assistant professor of clinical psychology. After leaving William & Mary, she went directly to a PhD program in clinical psychology, followed by a clinical internship, and then a postdoctoral fellowship. When she was on the job market a few years ago, she called me after interviewing at a variety of academic institutions, trying to figure out what path she should take as for her first academic position. It became clear to her, and as we talked, that she would be happiest trying to emulate the type of experience she had as an undergraduate student. So rather than going for a research-intensive, what we call a R1 institution, she chose a school that valued teaching as well as research and the integration of the two. And she's been happy there for the last 3 or 4 years, doing the experience that she had here at William & Mary as a student. I have to say that my decision-making about my career is similar to Diana's. I too had an undergraduate. I went to an undergraduate liberal arts institution where teaching was valued, and particularly the integration of research with teaching. Although I've had choices along my career path to join more research-intensive institutions, the rewards of working closely with undergraduate students and my strong belief in the value of a liberal arts education to individuals and to society always prevails. You will find that my story and the strong belief in the value of the education we provide motivates the faculty and administrators and really undergirds all that we do. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk briefly about how the university works. It may be helpful to think of the university as having 2 very basic sides. We have the academic life side and the student life side. The academic life side is where the faculty and administrators, such as academic deans, live or represent, and the student life side refers to administration that structures and oversees all the non-academic activities. I like to think of this house as not having any doors in between the 2 sections. That is because the academic and non-academic sides of the house are constantly, continuously communicating with each other about the various needs of the students. Together, we work to provide a safe and constructive learning and living environment for your student. Now, parsing down the academic side of the house a little bit more, at the basis of the academic side of the house are the students. They provide the foundation for all that we do. The next layer up are the professors, and of those professors, your student will have a pre-major advisor, and then someday when they declare their major, they will have a major advisor. So these are the individuals that they will be interacting with on the academic side the most. Now, all professors live in either a department, and sometimes a department and a program. At the head of every program and department is a department chair or a program director. If your student should ever encounter any difficulties or have questions about matters related to the department or program, the department chair or program director is the person that they can contact. Now, above the department chair program director level are the associate deans. I am one of them, and the next presenter, Dean Donahue, is also one of the associate deans, and we have different portfolios. The person who is our boss is the dean for the faculty. And then the chief academic officer is the provost. And then, of course, the president is at the top of the pyramid. Before I hand the program over to Professor Donahue, I reiterate our commitment to providing your student with a strong foundation in the liberal arts and sciences that will influence the way that they view the world, the way that they approach the inevitable challenges that lay ahead, and will prepare them well for the next steps in their careers and as educated, ethical, and responsible citizens. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and welcome to William & Mary. We're delighted that you can join us today, and we are especially pleased to welcome the class of 2024 in this, the 327th year of this university's illustrious history. We are mindful, of course, that we are not meeting today in the way that we thought we would. But please know that the university has worked enormously hard over these past few months to ensure that we will deliver the high-quality educational experience that you expect and for which William & Mary is so well known. My name is John Donahue, and I serve as the Dean for Educational Policy in the Office of Arts and Sciences. Perhaps another way of thinking about what I do is to understand my role as that of a Dean for the Humanities, who also oversees the undergraduate curriculum, especially the general education curriculum known as the COLL curriculum. That is C-O-L-L, short for college, as in the college curriculum. I'll have more to say about that in a few minutes. I also supervise numerous committees and other campus offices to help formulate academic policies that ensure the excellence and integrity of our undergraduate curriculum. My own grounding in the liberal arts comes by way of my training as a classicist, that is, as someone who studies ancient Greece and Rome, including their languages, Greek and Latin. I'm proud to say that I've been at William & Mary ever since earning my PhD almost 25 years ago, and it's here at this university that I've had the great privilege of teaching students who have never failed to inspire me with their intellectual curiosity and their deep ambition to become citizens eager to improve the world in which they live. Now, as I was thinking about how I was going to present some thoughts on the meaning of the liberal arts at William & Mary, and to do so in 15 minutes or so, the thought occurred to me, as Professor Zeman just mentioned, that all of us who are speaking with you today are parents of children who have graduated from college. And I also happen to have a son who will be taking his first classes as a college freshman next week. So we have experienced the same mix of emotions that you are undoubtedly feeling today. And when I think about the curricular path that my son is about to embark upon, I hope it's not too presumptuous on my part to suggest that we all want the same outcomes, namely, that our children will engage in an educational experience that will challenge them to grow, that will equip them with the skills, both oral and written, that they will need to navigate successfully in a rapidly changing world, and that they will develop a deeper sense of self, of their talents and their potential, and an equally deep understanding of the wider world to which they will contribute upon graduating. Now, that's a tall order, but one that we have always embraced with enthusiasm at William & Mary. Professor Zeman has already talked a bit about the value of liberal arts from the perspective of the social sciences. Let me share just a few thoughts of my own from a humanities perspective before turning to the curriculum. Rooted in ancient disciplines that emphasize the ability to communicate well, the liberal arts are essentially about freedom, a meaning that is in fact rooted in the word liberal through the Latin term liber, which means free. So, freedom to explore, freedom to think, freedom to question. It might be useful to think a bit more about this term, liberal arts, in a visual context as well. An example that I find particularly compelling is the modernist painting of the 1920s by Paul Klee entitled Highways and Byways, a work that Mark William Roach has chosen as the cover for his recent useful book on the value of the liberal arts. Now, one way to understand this painting is to recognize a main path in the center that brings the viewer toward the blue of the distance at the top of the painting, whether that be water or sky, or for our students, perhaps something more tangible, like graduate school, or better yet, every parent's fervent wish, full-time employment. But as Professor Roach points out, we need to take notice of what's going on elsewhere in the painting. Lots of side paths of various shapes and patterns. Paths that don't hinder one's journey, by the way, but on the contrary, make it possible for everybody to get to the same place, but by routes that look very different. To put this in the context of the liberal arts at William and Mary, we like to think that we encourage our students to travel freely and reflectively over many colorful and enriching intellectual paths as they make their way to their own new blue horizon, where they will be equipped to take up something that they love doing and doing it well, very well. So, on to the nuts and bolts of how best to prepare our students for lives of purpose and meaning. It's best to think of our liberal arts curriculum as anchored in three areas: electives, the call curriculum, and the major. Every student follows this path to graduation. Now, today I want to focus primarily on the green section in the center of this slide for a few moments. This green wave designates our call curriculum, that is our general education sequence that all students must take as part of their academic program. This initiative, several years in the making, grew out of a deep belief amongst our faculty that students, if they are to succeed in this world, need to develop highly effective communication and research skills as a way to prepare them for satisfying and enriching careers and lives. Just to take you through this very briefly, by working our way up from the bottom to the top of the green wave, the first year experience includes two types of courses that can be taken in either order and help to lay the groundwork for a coherent liberal arts education. Call 150 features deep readings and group discussions of text, data, or methods of inquiry. These are small classes, typically capped at 15 or so students, that typically focus on a narrow topic. Along with learning methods of scholarly research, students can expect to practice and strengthen their writing skills, which is a very important emphasis in Call 150 courses. Call 100, on the other hand, explores the concepts, beliefs, and discoveries that have shaped our understanding of the world. In other words, they're about big ideas, critiquing the American dream, to cite one recent course offering, or cosmology and the history of wonder, to cite another, and how to express these big ideas in communications media beyond the written word, for example, through visual, quantitative, oral, digital, or other means. These Call 100 courses are offered in every academic discipline, and they are a great way to explore an area of knowledge that's entirely new to students. As we move on, Call 200 courses take a close look at the various academic disciplines and how they approach knowledge through different paradigms and methodologies. In most cases, a Call 200 course belongs to or is anchored in one of three broad knowledge domains. Here, students will learn ideas and methods central to that knowledge domain while also looking outward to one or both of the other knowledge domains. This part of the college curriculum encourages students to make coherent and meaningful interconnections across academic disciplines. They will take at least one Call 200 course anchored in each of these three knowledge domains, with at least one Call 200 course taken in the second year. By the end of the second year, students should have a good sense of the field of knowledge they want to pursue in depth through their major, which they typically declare at about this time. Now, at this point, we want to be sure that our students are ready to connect theory to practice and to place their work in a global or cross-cultural context. And we accomplish this through the Call 300 experience, which typically happens in the third year. Call 300 connects students with people, places, and ideas that lift them out of their familiar surroundings and deepen the way they see themselves in the world. This part of the college curriculum aspires to stimulate a fruitful and deliberate experience of disorientation that allows students to see their own lives in broader perspective. Now, the pandemic has changed the nature of several of the Call 300 experiences I'm about to mention, but please know that we have adapted for the coming year, and we are continuing to provide a range of opportunities that will prepare our students to become global citizens. Call 300 can be fulfilled in several ways. It might take the form of an international experience, where a student can study with a William & Mary faculty member abroad in a program sponsored or endorsed by the college's Reeves Center for International Studies. Over the years, I've had the good fortune of leading several such trips to Rome, Florence, Sicily, and the Bay of Naples, where for 4 weeks, students take courses that include an examination of a host of archaeological sites, and they produce oral and research reports on the sites they have chosen as part of the course credit they receive. I can say in all honesty that this has always been an enormously rewarding experience, both for myself and for the students, and is but a small sample of the many opportunities available to students for international study in every corner of the globe. The Call 300 requirement can also be met through courses that focus on global or cross-cultural issues, whether through our William & Mary Center in Washington, D.C., or perhaps an off-campus credit-bearing initiative that involves encounters with different environments and cultures. Finally, students can also experience Call 300 on campus through designated courses that address semester-long global or cross-cultural issues. As we reach the top of the green wave, a student's major, electives, and the college curriculum experience all come together in the senior year. In the Call 400 course, students create original research and share their work with others. The Call 400 capstone experience takes place in the major, where students are expected to synthesize and apply critical analysis, solve problems in an applied or academic setting, create original material or original scholarship, and communicate effectively with diverse audiences. A final key component of the Call curriculum bears mentioning. Effective with the class entering in 2021, students will be required to take an additional call course known as Call 350. This course will enhance students' knowledge and facilitate their critical analysis of the workings of power, privilege, and inequity in U.S. society and globally, past and present. Its goal will be to provide students with a rigorous academic space in which to explore differences in perspective, while foregrounding reasoned and respectful discussion as the means for achieving common ground, and to deepen students' understanding of justice, equity, and the value-laden processes of social inclusion and exclusion. Our faculty is continuing its work to ensure that this new requirement is both robust and challenging, and we're quite excited by its possibilities for our faculty and for our students. And that is a quick introduction to the Call curriculum. What we especially like about it is that, first, by extending through all 4 years of a typical undergraduate education, it is deliberately vertical. Second, it focuses on building skills and knowledge over time. In this sense, it is integrative because students are expected to improve their reasoning, expertise, communication, and collaboration step by step over a 4-year period. And finally, the Call curriculum is multidisciplinary, an adjective we prefer to interdisciplinary. In Call courses, students are simultaneously exposed to different ways of knowing in order to learn how different fields approach and solve problems and relay their findings. This general model has taken a significant amount of work, and our efforts are paying off with a more focused, integrated, and cohesive approach to introducing students to the liberal arts. It has indeed provided new and exciting intellectual highways and byways, to recall the painting I spoke of earlier, and we remain very excited about its possibilities. In closing, you have already learned about a few of our outstanding alumni. I'd like to conclude with a quote from yet another one of our accomplished graduates, Dr. Irene Matthew, class of 2009. Dr. Matthew is a pediatrician and published poet who has been featured on the university's website. She very eloquently captures the essence of what William & Mary liberal arts education is all about, and what we as faculty are confident that our students are capable of achieving after their time here in this intensive and highly rewarding liberal arts environment. Dr. Matthew writes, "My liberal arts education gave me the space to explore my interests and, more importantly, to explore ideas. There are intellectual questions I started asking in college about public health, human rights, ethics, and civic engagement that I am still asking today. I don't think I'll ever find definite answers, but my education gave me the cognitive tools to live with these questions, which continue to inform the core values behind my work as it evolves. Because I did not feel pressure to specialize early on in my studies and chose an interdisciplinary major, I was able to explore these ideas and then select the career that made the most sense to me intellectually and emotionally." An inspiring example of how a powerful liberal arts education can encourage a student to explore, to develop interests and talents, and ultimately to make a difference in the world. Thank you for your attention, and welcome again to William & Mary. Go Tribe!
Welcome to William & Mary. I wish that we could be welcoming you in person, but I'm grateful that we have the technology we do to bring you into today's presentation and help you learn a little bit about what the next few days are going to look like for your student and beyond. I am the University Registrar. You may wonder what that title means, and what it means is that my office and I are responsible for implementing the academic policies that Deans Zeman and Donahue and our faculty have created. We will help you and your student with domicile, VA benefits, transfer credit, everything having to do with registration, including the class schedule, and then everything having to do with academic records, including graduation and beyond. So we are here for you, we are here for your students, and it is a joy to help them through their academic progress. John also mentioned that he and Janice and I are all parents of either current or former college students, and I have the distinction and honor of being the parent of a William & Mary alumna. My daughter Libby graduated in 2016, and so I truly have sat in your seats or walked in your shoes, and I do remember during her freshman orientation watching my colleagues talk about experiences that students had both on campus and off campus that were transformative parts of their academic experience, and wondering how in the world will my particular student find her transformative experience. There are so many options available, and yet how would she sort of home in on that? And as I've reflected back on how she did do that, I have some thoughts to share with you about ways that you can support your student. First of all, your student will be hit over the next few days, weeks, months with lots and lots of opportunities. Please help them stay calm, help them assess the opportunities, not feel like they have to grab everything and do everything, but really watch for ones that resonate with them and that are significant to them, both, as Dr. Matthews said, intellectually and emotionally. She talked about exploring ideas being such a critical part of the liberal arts experience, and it really is. So please encourage them to keep an open mind. Be open to things that they would never in a million years have thought about doing. For my own daughter, that is reflected in the pictures that you'll see on this slide and the next slide. She decided to participate in an archaeological field methods class during the summer between her freshman and sophomore years, and it really changed her life. She became an anthropology major as a result, and realized that she enjoyed the physicality of that experience as well as the intellectual pursuit of studying the people peoples who used to live in this region and archaeological methods. So keeping an open mind really will help. Please encourage your students to interact with their faculty. Don't just watch the classes and walk out, but really engage with faculty, learn about their research, and that's a great way to encounter opportunities that may not have presented themselves otherwise. Volunteering is really important. If faculty are looking for volunteers or student organizations, that can be a way to learn about options that you may not have had before. And taking risks. Taking risks is really important. Deciding to do a dig in the heat of the summer was a bit of a risk, but it certainly paid off, and it was a lot of fun, but it was also very rewarding. So do be confident that your students will find their way, and we are here to help them find their way, but it doesn't all have to be clear right at this minute. So that's also true with what's happening over the next few days. Beginning later today, your student will continue academic advising and then register on Monday, late on Monday, up to a full-time registration, full-time schedule. What's happening over the weekend that already is advising that will build on the college studies course that your student took over the summer through Blackboard. Your student probably already knows a lot more than they knew when you dropped them off about how to proceed with registration and what the fall semester is going to look like. And again, by the beginning of the classes on Wednesday, they will have registered in Banner and they will have their class schedule. If they run into any difficulty, academic advising will be there for them. One thing that's a little different this year, of course, is that the pandemic has forced us to be creative in the way we deliver instruction. So for your students who will be receiving all of their instruction remotely, we have both remote asynchronous and remote synchronous courses. For your students who will be here with us on campus, those are available to them, but we also have courses that will include some face-to-face instruction. And we have added these instructional modes as attributes on the classes in Banner so that your students can clearly see the modality for their particular class. I mentioned this not for you all to become experts because we don't want you to have to worry about this level of detail, but more to demonstrate the kind of flexibility and accommodations that we have tried to bring to fall preparation. So I call this the Zen of registration because most family members arrive at orientation a little stressed about how their student will become full-time and get their class schedule finalized over the next few days. And so I wanted to give you a sense of what the next few days will include. Again, continued academic planning has already been going on this weekend, and faculty advising, which is a one-on-one 30-minute time slot with an individual faculty member at which your student could discuss fall classes or major interests or career ideas, whatever questions they might have about the curriculum. That will happen either this evening or on Monday. And then they'll register for up to full-time. Full-time is considered 12 credits or more. So your students will get a pin when they see their academic advisor, and they'll use that pin for registration to demonstrate that they have have had time with their advisor. On Tuesday, the Academic Advising Office will reach out to any students who had difficulty during registration, and add drop actually begins at 1 p.m. Then, of course, classes start on Wednesday. One of the key things in preparing for classes to begin is acquisition of textbooks and course materials. And I'm sure you've been wondering how, if they register on Monday or Tuesday, will they get their textbooks already by Wednesday? Well, first of all, a lot of faculty understand, especially for those students studying remotely, that they may not have texts on Wednesday. But the William & Mary Bookstore is facilitating textbook availability to the greatest extent possible. So during orientation, your students who are here on campus with us may visit the bookstore on Merchant Square. We have a brick and mortar campus bookstore on Merchant Square, and their orientation aides will take them if they would like to be taken down there. They can also order their textbooks online. There's actually a link from online registration that takes them directly to textbook information. So that's all integrated with Barnes & Noble and our registration system. I want you to know that Barnes & Noble will price match. So if your student wants to check a price maybe on Amazon and finds a discrepancy, they can present that to Barnes & Noble. And the benefits of purchasing through Barnes & Noble, of course, partly include the ability to use William & Mary Express and other purchasing options. But in addition, they facilitated rentals. All of their rentals come with a prepaid return slip, and because they are our campus bookstore partner, they will ship texts to your home. So again, Tuesday will be the day to start thinking about textbooks, and the orientation assistants will help them with that. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information about the technology that we use to support your students' enrollment. You're already familiar, I'm sure, with Blackboard because that's the learning management system, and that was the platform on which we delivered our summer Call Studies class. Banner is our student information system, and you'll hear a lot about Banner because that's where they'll register, it's where they can view their schedule, their holds, and that's where the grades will be at the end of this semester. In addition, Banner has that link, as I just mentioned, from registration to textbook information so that they can order their books through a link from Banner. DegreeWorks is a relatively new tool that we have for students. It's a degree audit tool, and they can use DegreeWorks to see how their pre-college credits, their fall semester registration, and then later in their academic career, all of their courses count towards their particular major. They can do what-if analyses, and it's a useful tool for helping them move towards the ultimate goal of graduation. William & Mary provides students an email account that uses Gmail, uses the Google platform, and please know and remind them that any business they conduct with the university has to be done through their William & Mary email, not through a personal email address. So whether they're writing to a professor or my office or another office, they do have to use their William & Mary account. Some thoughts about planning ahead. This semester is going to be unusual in every possible way, except for the high quality of instruction that your students will get. But we have adjusted the academic calendar. We are gathering early, of course, and we will finish with finals before Thanksgiving. In doing that, we have canceled fall break, as you know, to discourage travel, but we know that you'll be anxious to plan travel as soon as final exams are over for those students who are here on campus with us this semester. I do want you to know that exams will run through Tuesday night, November 24th. So please wait until your student is absolutely certain of their final schedule and they know when their exams or their due dates will be, so that you don't run the risk of maybe buying a plane ticket or booking hotel rooms before the student can actually leave. So please keep that in mind. One of our frequently asked questions is whether there will be a schedule change for spring, and the answer is that we don't know yet. It's premature to make that decision. So as of right now, the spring start date remains Wednesday, January 26th for undergraduates. In order to prepare for spring, we will do advising and registration remotely after Thanksgiving. We felt that with the compressed fall schedule, we didn't want to hit students right in the middle of midterms with advising and registration for the spring, since we have December available to us. So your student will actually meet with their advisor remotely, after Thanksgiving, and then register during early and mid-December for spring semester. We truly do miss meeting you in person and very much look forward to a time, I hope soon, when we can gather here on campus. In the meantime, one of my favorite parts of parent and family orientation is always the parent resource fair that takes place Saturday morning before families leave. And so we're missing that this year, and that gave us another interaction opportunity at tables, kind of more one-on-one. We have prepared a packet for you, a PDF from every office that would normally be represented at that fair. And I know it's going to seem like a lot to read, but I really encourage you to go through those materials that have been prepared because A, they'll answer a lot of questions. B, most of them, including mine, have hyperlinks to the appropriate web pages that you might need. But C, they all include contact information, and we really mean it when we say, please contact us with any questions that you might have and that you would have brought to the table literally at the resource fair in person. And for now, let me say, please enjoy your time as a William & Mary family member. You're very much part of our family, and I wish you all the very best for this exciting fresh start.
Wow. I continue to be amazed by the variety of opportunities and experiences offered to our undergraduate students. William & Mary convenes great minds and hearts to meet the most pressing needs of our time. This is fueled by the foundation of a liberal arts education. I'm excited to see and hear about your students' journey as they explore their interests through our curriculum. Now, it's time for a break. We will pause for a brief intermission before we begin the second portion of our program. That snack break I mentioned, this is it. Be sure to stick around because immediately following intermission, we will be discussing health and safety measures. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Welcome back. We have 3 more presentations this afternoon. I hope you're ready. A topic that I'm confident is on your mind is how we are ensuring the safety of our community during the fall semester. As William & Mary phases into open campus operations, the health and safety of our community remains top priorities. The university has developed guidelines and resources to facilitate a safe and healthy return to campus. I'm hopeful that you've attended one of the many town halls hosted by university leadership this summer, which discussed these topics in great detail. These town halls covered the motivation behind returning to campus, ways we are safeguarding students, faculty, and staff, expectations for our community, and much more. You can find recordings of all town halls on the Path Forward website. Our next session will give you a sneak peek into the training your student completed regarding COVID health and safety on campus.
At William & Mary, you will discover many shared responsibilities, including your well-being. Along with the university's COVID-19 Wellness Kit, this baseline training series will introduce you to a variety of facts and skills necessary to ensure the health of yourself and others, whether you are faculty, staff, students, contractors, vendors, or guests. You will learn about basic hygiene practices and how to deal with those situations when the people around you don't uphold our community standards. Your contributions to the shared responsibility ideal are committing yourself to these healthful behaviors and applying them in your daily life at the university, at home, and in your other activities.
Good morning.
Mask!
Oh, God.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How is everyone?
Why are we taking these steps? The roots of our response to COVID-19 go deeper than reports from the World Health Organization or the CDC. As a matter of fact, 2 of the university's values related to our response are respect and flourishing. We offer the facts, skills, and the encouragement to help you live, learn, and work here through your informed choices toward a healthy and fulfilling life. These aren't just things that Human Resources or the McLeod Tyler Wellness Center upholds, and respect is far more than a moving song by Aretha Franklin. Our 7 values infuse this campus, while honoring those values and our shared responsibility is exactly how William & Mary may reduce this pandemic's impact. Though some people can spread the virus without showing any symptoms at all, the majority of people will show signs of infection 2 to 14 days after exposure. Until we have an effective vaccine, we must rely on each other for an effective community response to this pandemic. That requires you to maintain a physical distance of at least 6 feet, wear your mask, practice hand hygiene by washing and sanitizing, join our community only when you are well, stay at home and contact your health provider if you feel sick or if you have been exposed to somebody diagnosed with COVID-19. We all share this responsibility, and by being here, we commit to supporting the people of William & Mary and the cities around us. Throughout this series, you will notice people wearing a variety of appropriate face coverings. We call them appropriate because they conceal both the nose and the mouth effectively. Wearing a mask or a face shield is not a political statement, nor is it an IQ test. It does, however, demonstrate our shared responsibility to community health. It signals that you care about yourself and others, and it shows that other people care about themselves and you. Masks can reduce the chance of healthy people acquiring viruses and slow the spreading of that virus from infected people, particularly those who don't know that they are infected. Let's go over face coverings. Acceptable face coverings? Thank you. The following are general requirements for face coverings that apply to everyone at William & Mary. The university insists on face coverings for all faculty, staff, students, contract workers, vendors, guests, tourists, and others who are on William & Mary's various campuses or enter the buildings that we lease or own. When in any William & Mary facility, including building entry areas, classrooms and labs, conference rooms, elevators, hallways, libraries, lounges, public areas, indoors and outdoors, restrooms, and other shared spaces that allow for interaction or gathering, everyone must wear a face covering over the nose and mouth. The ability to distance yourself physically within a space does not cancel our mask requirements. What are the specific guidelines for students? Well, all the general requirements above apply in addition to the following code of conduct. You must wear a face covering when in a classroom, lab, or other instructional spaces. For example, a laboratory might require a university-provided face shield. The exact type of face covering may vary depending on the instructional environment. All requirements apply to both indoor and outdoor co-curricular activities and spaces. Inside of university housing, you must wear a face covering whenever you are in common rooms, hallways, bathrooms, and other shared spaces, unless you are showering, brushing your teeth, or some similar activity. And finally, for all our students, it is your choice to wear a face covering when in your own room or suite within your residence hall. You must wear a face covering when visiting other rooms or suites within your residence hall and when you host a visitor from a different room or suite within your residence hall. Finally, the total number of people in your room or suite cannot exceed the preset guidelines necessary for physical distancing. And what if you are faculty, staff, a contract worker, vendor, family member, tourist, or a different type of guest to our community? In addition to the general requirements, faculty and instructional support staff may have an additional code of conduct to follow. You must wear a face covering in indoor or outdoor classrooms, labs, or other instructional spaces. You must wear a mask in an office space with an open floor plan, even if you can maintain a 6-foot distance from your closest colleagues. You must use face coverings when you have to interact with others, such as talking with colleagues or advising students. Employees who move throughout buildings, including private office spaces, to perform their work must wear face coverings at all times. Examples of this type of work include IT, building maintenance, dining, and library staff. Employees working in outdoor spaces may choose not to wear face coverings, as long as you can maintain a continuous 6-foot physical distance from others during your activities. If you have requested an accommodation around face coverings, employees through human resources, and students through accessibility services, then those offices will work with you to identify alternative arrangements that do not expose you or others to potential infection. That is our way of staying healthy together. So, if it's your face, how is one person wearing one mask part of Healthy Together? Well, we all wear masks properly, following the steps that we just learned, in case we are infected, with or without symptoms, and we need to protect others. We wear them in public spaces, and in gatherings of friends and family to protect ourselves and to prevent us from bringing an infection back to our offices, classrooms, and loved ones. We do it to optimize our protection as the William and Mary community. It is important that we all do our parts to keep our spaces clean and disinfected. We want you to be aware of the choices that the William and Mary community makes daily to be healthy together. So we will discuss a variety of spaces, even some that you will never occupy, clean, or sanitize. Please note that some university spaces, such as the Sodexo Kitchens or the B. McLeod Recreation Center, have industry-specific or OSHA-regulated guidelines that we cannot cover in this module. Your supervisor will let you know about those trainings. From a public health standpoint, cleaning and sanitizing are two different actions. Cleaning requires the use of soap and water to remove dirt and germs, while sanitizing uses specific chemicals with specific directions to destroy specific germs. This all means that a surface could seem dirty yet be sanitized. Likewise, something could appear clean yet be germ-filled. At least once daily, and much more than that, depending on how frequently these are touched by other people, we need to clean and sanitize the following surfaces: classroom desks and chairs, countertops, dining hall tables and chairs, doorknobs and handles, handrails, light switches, push buttons on vending machines and elevators, shared computer keyboards and mice, shared desktops, shared remote controls, shared telephones, stair rails. Though we have listed them above, computer keyboards remain a nuisance to clean. If there are shared keyboards in your spaces, they should be accompanied by signs that discuss the hand washing tips from before. Silicone keyboard covers are also far easier to clean and sanitize than the keyboards themselves. At William and Mary, all of our laboratory spaces, whether for research, teaching, or both, are unique in form and function, and their operation is at the sole discretion of a principal investigator or professor. Though many of these safety practices apply to employees, advanced students may face them as well. These would include arranging shift work, continuing telework when possible, establishing a set flow of travel in and among laboratories and buildings to reduce contact with others, keeping self-assessment records for both general health and fitness to work, limiting occupancy according to the lab square footage and ventilation equipment, setting guidelines for physical distancing when more than one person is in that space, upholding laboratory cleaning and disinfecting protocols. When in doubt, please direct your questions to the professor or principal investigator in charge of that lab. Thinking of the high costs of sanitary wipes on the internet, we sometimes will see an over-reliance on costly disinfectants, when little or perhaps even none would be adequate. For surfaces and objects that are not high risk or high touch, for example, the top of a bookcase, the floor under your desk, or that original 1978 copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special, regular disinfecting is not required. Likewise, carpets and drapes clean up nicely with soap and water, or perhaps with a detergent made specifically for that purpose. So, by now we know about physical distancing, wearing masks, washing our hands, staying at home when ill, and keeping our spaces disinfected. But what do we do when we need help? When others need help? Or when people cause us to feel unsafe? Despite the concept of healthy together and flying in the face of all the signage in our buildings, not to mention common sense, you will encounter the occasional person who doesn't value your health. There is also the case where you might need something as part of your own self-care, perhaps some alone time in a shared space. And for that, you might need courage to ask for it. But before your temper gets riled up at the person who forgets their masks, remember that there are some people who just don't know that their mask is in their back pocket, or that your need for an open window is for fresh air for everybody. The key component is acting on your values when asking for help or intervening in a situation. It's not about being fearless, but rather managing your fear and doing what you can. When our gut tells us that it's right to lean into a hard situation, and we do, we are being healthy and courageous. To support William and Mary, the greater Williamsburg community, and all the cities that host our campuses, please expect others to remind you of the importance of these precautions and ask you to leave a classroom, a laboratory, a workspace, or a community space if you are not wearing an appropriate face covering. Likewise, we hope you will also bring it to the attention of others when they are violating our policies or general public health precautions. When the situation becomes hostile, for example, when a person coughs on you with intent, or when a colleague refuses to uphold our community values around flourishing and respect, then we remind you of the following. Seeking sensible support shows strength. Students can discuss the issue with a resident advisor, an academic advisor, a professor, a dean, or another person who could help them. They could also file a care report from the Dean of Students' office webpage. Remember, when we reflect and use our own values, then the individual tasks of asking for help, along with the shared role of intervening, become not only easier, but they also become more effective. Take 30 seconds to think about what you want your future to be, for yourself, your loved ones, your peers, your profession, and this campus. Add to that vision the fact that until we have an effective vaccine, we must all support our own immunity and adhere to physical distancing, wearing a mask, proper and frequent hand washing, using hand sanitizer when soap and water are not an option, avoiding contact with people who are ill, avoiding contact with healthy people, and getting medical attention when we are ill, seeking sensible support because it is a sign of strength, facing others with courage when their misinformed choices violate our right to a healthy community. Our university is more than 3 centuries old, and with a shared responsibility for our wellness, we will be around for centuries to come. And just as universities seek to apply knowledge and facts to expand our minds, our work, and our world, that same pursuit of scholarship and science versus luck and gossip will guide our intentional response to this pandemic and to other pandemics centuries away. For more information on COVID-19, the university's response, and additional steps that you can take to protect yourself and others, please go to www.wm.edu/pathforward. Likewise, you may pause your screen and use the QR code on this page along with your smartphone or tablet to access this information. If you encounter somebody dishonoring our Healthy Together commitment, please email covidconcerns@wm.edu for our advice and support. Before you apply the guidance from these trainings, please think about the future that you envisioned at the start of this last module. Wherever you are right now as you attend this training, and no matter what valuable role you play at the university, please know that no one person or any one office is responsible for our health. With your ideal future firmly in mind, we are grateful for your answer to the question, what can I do to help make William and Mary healthy together?
Something that sticks out to me about the presentation we just watched and the Healthy Together commitment is the core value of flourishing. Flourishing allows us to create conditions that ensure William and Mary will thrive for all time coming. And we empower those who live, learn, and work here to make choices toward a healthy and fulfilling life. This value takes on even more meaning as we consider what it means for William and Mary and its people to flourish during a pandemic. May we each commit to doing our part to mitigate risk, to actively demonstrate our care for the physical and emotional well-being of others, and to complete a successful year together. This commitment to wellness is not new to fall 2020. This commitment runs deep in the culture at William & Mary. The 4 departments of health and wellness, campus recreation, the counseling center, health promotion, and the student health center are at the forefront of these efforts. With us today to discuss our commitment to wellness are Linda Knight, the Executive Director of Health and Wellness, and Eric Garrison from Health Promotion. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you to be part of our program here today. We're excited for the families and the parents to join us during this presentation. My name is Linda Knight. I am the Executive Director of Health and Wellness and the Director of Campus Recreation, and I'm here with my partner, Eric Garrison.
Hi, I'm Eric Garrison. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Health Promotion here at the university.
We're going to talk to you today a little bit about health and wellness and kind of what we're going to do for your students on a wellness level. A few years ago, Ginger Ambler, who is our Vice President of Student Affairs, put together a health and wellness thematic area because we knew our students were not necessarily flourishing because they couldn't reach we were working with their physical health or their mental health or their health with the doctors, but we weren't looking at it as an integrated approach. And so what we have done is we've created one department, and it's called the Health and Wellness Thematic Area. And that incorporates the Counseling Center, the Health Center, the Health Promotion, and Campus Recreation. Most of what we will talk about today will be kind of the Health Promotion and the Campus Rec in the bigger picture because there's another session on the Health Center and the Counseling Center. So we're going to focus a lot on the overall arching wellness versus the specific departments of each one. So we have an integrity statement, and it's really important to us, and we are committed to optimizing the well-being of our community, and that's mostly students, but that also includes our faculty and staff. We promote flourishing and resilience. We serve with compassion, dependability, excellence, and fairness. And one of the most important things we pay attention to is we always want to lead with, how can I help? You know, oftentimes you ask a question and you get no. You get no. Well, our philosophy is, how can we help you? We may not always be able to solve the problem. We may not always be able to get you where you need to be, but we will try. We'll always start with that. How may I help? So we have 8 dimensions of wellness, and that's the really important part. And we know that if we don't focus on all 8 dimensions, our students will not flourish. They just won't do it. And we know that it's important that each dimension is attended to. Eric, do you have anything you want to add to any of this yet?
Yeah, I think what you were saying, Linda, is absolutely correct. And most of our students think only about their physical health or maybe their emotional health. They forget that all these other aspects, they work together. They don't work individually in siloed ways, but they've all, like you said, they've all got to come together and work for that student to feel like they're flourishing or the faculty and staff to feel like they're flourishing.
And we'll talk about facilities in a little bit, but one of the things that we're so proud of is we have built a center that has the health center and the counseling center and health promotion and wellness programs from Campus Recreation and Authentic Excellence, all in the same building. We found that if a student was really not feeling well physically or emotionally, or they were just super tired or they were stressed, trying to go from one building to the next just wasn't being successful. So we'll talk about the facilities in a little bit, but that is part of our integrated approach. So we have a building with 4 different offices in it, but we are one department, and we work as one department, and we each help each other out, and we can call up each other and say, hey, I got a student who needs X, Y, or Z, and we make that happen. So I think that's an important part of our integrated approach. So we're going to talk about those 8 dimensions, and the first dimension is emotional and mental. And this is really coping effectively and having a sense of positive self-regard and creating satisfying relationships. This is not doesn't automatically go to a suicidal person or a person who just can't cope. It can be a lot of different things in the emotional and the mental area. The second area we want to talk about is environmental. This is an important one. Now, so I'm a little prejudiced because I also am the campus recreation director. So a lot of these pictures you'll see in here are around campus recreation because those are the ones that I have. But we are also fortunate enough to be one of the offices on campus and one of the departments on campus that can reach all 8 dimensions. Some of my partners in health and wellness can do most of them, but it's that physical piece that really kind of sets us apart. But we all work together, and if a student needs some physical exercise, one of the things that our doctors put on their prescription pads is exercise. You don't find that everywhere. They don't automatically prescribe a pill. It could be, hey, you just need to go exercise because you're stressed. So that's part of our whole picture of the thematic area.
And Linda, I know you said you're going to talk about the facilities later. One of the things that I love about our 2 buildings, they embrace the environment. They're sustainable, they're environmentally friendly, LEED certified. So we really do take care of that dimension ourselves. And like you said, we really want our students to as well.
Absolutely. And the campus recreation building was the first LEED certified building on campus, which is environmentally friendly. And that was one of the few in the country that was able to do that with a renovation project. Our wellness center just got a gold LEED certification, which it may be one of the only, if not the only one on campus that's gold. So they really, really focused on making it an environment where people would feel welcome and also protect the environment. Next area would be financial. And between all of us, we hire over 300 students. We have a lot of students that work for us, from everything from wellness ambassadors in the wellness center to patron service assistants, fitness instructors, lifeguards, outdoor trip leaders. We have a couple groups that answer with Eric that are some of our peer education groups. Now they're still employees, they just don't get paid. So he's got a couple peer education groups, but they don't necessarily fall into the financial piece. The important part about that is we teach students basically about financial skills. So we don't just give them a paycheck. We bring in people to talk to them about how to manage your budget. How do you handle these things? We like to think our students get more than just a job. They get an experience, and they can use that in the future. But that's really important to us, that we don't just give them money. It's about what do you do and how do you manage that. Next piece is intellectual. Obviously, the students get that everywhere on campus. We're at an academic institution, and that's important. But what's also really important is that the academics is not the only place where they learn. We really focus a lot on teachable moments and making everything we do educational. We play intramural basketball. How do we make that educational? We spend a lot of time talking about teamwork and commitment, and if somebody does kind of maybe go overboard a little bit and we have to eject them for some reason, we don't just eject them, we bring them in and we talk to them about why that's not acceptable. And if they were in a job in, 10 years down the road in a financial institute, if you did that, you'd probably lose your job. So it's really important that we make everything educational. And we spend a lot of time on that in all of our areas. And Eric can talk a little bit about that because his peer educators are absolutely amazing and get the advantage of that also.
Same we do. We have a great peer education program on campus where we have students who are going out teaching other students about these skills, the knowledge, helping them change their attitude. But one of the things I also like, Linda, is we have these wellness apps that we teach. It's not an app like you would have on your phone. These are applied wellness classes. So you would learn the theories and the history of bicycling, but then you also learn the techniques around proper bicycling. Mm-hmm. You learn about the history of yoga, but then you apply those techniques to your life as well. So I think that's the really cool, when I see it on the screen with the formal and informal learning. The class I teach in peer leadership is a formal 3-credit class, but we have all these wonderful informal opportunities as well.
We absolutely do, and we work really hard to make sure they get it in both areas. Like Eric mentioned the wellness apps, we actually have a wellness minor now, and it's part of our public health program, but most of the people that teach the classes are part of our instructor programs. So occupational, and this is personal satisfaction and enrichment from one's work. So we go back to, we do not want it to be a job. We tell people all the time, and again, I focus a lot on campus rec. We tell them all the time, once you're part of the campus recreation family, you're always part of the campus recreation family. And if you come back 20 years down the road and you want to use the rec center and you worked for us, you can do that. You're part of our family. So it's not just about sitting at the front desk. It's not just about making sure somebody's got their mask on. It's not about those things. It's really about growth. And that's a really, really important piece to us. We have people all the time say, well, I just work in the rec center. No, you don't. You're critical to what we do. You may be the most important person that a student or a faculty staff sees when they walk in that facility, because you're the first one they see, and they may be having a horrible day and you make a difference with them. So you can make or break somebody's whole day with that. And we sell that with them. That's a really, really important part of what we do. We bring the Career Center in and do presentations for our student employees because we think that it's really important. When we had them come in a few years ago and we talked about the skills they get working for somebody anywhere in health and wellness. And when the person from the Career Center came in, every single skill they wrote down was what they said new employers were looking for. So it was just amazing.
I say one of the things that I love about our employees is they're student workers, and we know that student comes first.
Right.
For a lot of our students on this campus who don't have a student job, we recognize that and we let them know that being a student is their occupation. So all of the things that Linda's been talking about, all these 8 dimensions, they apply to a student when that's their job. Likewise, they apply to our students when they're student workers in campus, living or with you over in campus rec.
Right. Physical. So one of the things I will say, because I usually say this at the beginning, is nobody is worried about their student coming here and getting a good education. We know that. We know William & Mary is one of the best educational institutions in the country. So nobody worries about that. One of the things I'm the most proud of, and the reason I stayed here over 20 years, is because the experience our students get outside the classroom is amazing. And that happens a lot of times in private institutions. You don't necessarily see the focus on student flourishing and student well-being that you see at William & Mary at a lot of public institutions. And we're just one piece of that. I mean, there's a whole student affairs world that kind of supports your students. But we hope we're a big piece of that from the health and wellness perspective. So the next one's physical. Recognizing the need for fueling, hydrating, sleeping, and training. So this isn't just about getting on an elliptical and working out or running on a treadmill or going out and playing intramural basketball. This all revolves around fueling, hydrating, sleeping, and training. And training is the piece that we're talking about with physical. Eric is one of our absolutely experts on sleep. So we have him come over a couple times a year and do presentations on what's so important about sleep? Why does it matter I get this certain number of hours? Why does it matter if I get up at a certain time and go to bed at a certain time, or I eat something before I go to bed, or I don't? I'll never forget, it was probably 10 years ago now. He came and gave a presentation, and I take vitamin D, not a big deal, but I take it. I was taking it at night every night I'd take it, and he's like, when do you take that? I say, at night. He says, no wonder you can't sleep. Take it in the morning, please. But that was something that never crossed my mind, and it's just something that's so important that he can teach to us.
You know what I was thinking too about the word training instead of exercise? I worked here years ago as a student, and I remember once I was on one of the, there weren't ellipticals back then, but on one piece of machinery, and a student came up to me and said, why is it that you teach, but you also, are doing this? I said, well, I'm in training. They said, training for what? And I pointed to the window in your building, and I said, for everything out there. So it's that training that we're doing to help us for the argument we have in class about our project, or the discussion on this, or going for that job. It's helping us train and fuel and, like you said, hydrate and all those other things to get us ready for all the other parts of our lives that we have to do.
Absolutely, and we know there's studies out there that if you are healthier and you're getting the right amount of sleep and you're exercising, you're most likely going to have a higher GPA. Yeah. So the studies show if you work out in the rec center 2 to 3 times a week, you're more likely to have a higher GPA than those students that don't. And it's not anything magical we're doing, it's what your body's doing when you do that. So I'd love to say, yeah, I'm great and that's why it's happening, but that's not the truth. It is probably because your body is reacting to that, and you do better, you stay more awake in classes, you can study better because your mind is a little bit fresher. And that also goes along with the whole sleep piece of it. That is critical to this piece also. It's
what that reminds me of too, in this whole pandemic thing right now, until we have a vaccine, our immunity is all we can rely on.
Absolutely.
So our physical health has just got to be, optimal, not maximal, but optimal. Mm-hmm. And like you've said, we get that through, what we eat, how we, train, how we sleep, how we hydrate. When we do all those things, that's how we can help fight the pandemic.
Absolutely. And the good news is this all falls under one umbrella. So everything we're telling you now, if your student has a question, they can come to any of us, and we may not be able to answer the specific question of exactly how do I do this in the counseling center, but we know who to get them to. So that's the nice thing. We work so closely together that no matter what area of health and wellness somebody has a question about, we can all be a resource for them.
Linda, it reminds me of those old-fashioned operators who were doing those little connections back, and then we're all sort of those old operators who are making those connections. So I love that you mentioned that.
Right, thanks. Social. Now here's the one we know this year is going to be critical. It's going to be hard to be social and stay 6 feet away from everybody in the world and wear a mask. We know that. We are working very hard in all of our areas of health and wellness to make sure we provide opportunities for students to be able to be social and still be safe. That's one of the things I think we spend hours upon hours upon hours talking about. How can we create a social environment for students in a healthy way? And that's why all of our facilities are going to be open, all of our programs are going to go on, they're going to all be modified, and we'll talk about that at the end. Eric is going to continue to offer so many of his programs that he does for our students that are just amazing. So we're going to continue to do all of those things, but we know this is going to be an issue, but we also know it is so important for us to create that environment, because they're not going to necessarily be able to get it in their classroom. They're not going to be able to necessarily get it in the dining halls. All these places where the people could create a social circle, they can still do some of that, but we have to provide the activities for them to be able to do that and do that safely.
And I think the important thing here, going back to another word you use, is the physical piece. You and I are physically distant, but we're socially close.
Absolutely.
We text every day. This afternoon we saw each other in the hallway. We were chatting, but we still had a physical distance.
Right.
But we maintain those social relationships because they're so vital to our mental and emotional health.
They are, and we know, we've heard from the students when we talk to the students that work for us, this is a tough year to come back to William & Mary because you don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know what it's going to feel like. It's not going to, you're new students, so you don't know what last fall was like. But the returning students are like, well, it's going to be just like last fall, but it's not going to be. So it's really important that we do all we can to make it feel good. But we did hear time after time after time the thing they missed the most was community. they still took classes, they did them online, they still took tests, they still learned, but they missed the community, they missed their William and Mary tribe. And it's important for us that we continue that and create spaces on campus where students can gather safely, whether it's an area where we put extra chairs or an area where we light up the area so people can sit outside at night and just talk to each other from a safe distance with a mask on, but can still do that. And I think that's so important.
And you made some great changes to the campus with those Adirondack chairs and everything. Yes. I've seen more Adirondack chairs on campus than I have in like the state of New York.
More are coming.
It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So the next one is spiritual. And please understand, this does not mean religion. So, it's more of a higher power, whatever that feels like to you. It can be anything. But it is important that we want to have a sense of purpose and meaning and connection to the universe in a non-material way. So it can be anything you want. I mean, it really does not have to be the religion by any stretch of the imagination. And I love this cartoon that's going on with the dog. It's just my favorite thing. I'm the lady on the other side. I couldn't get my leg up there if I tried. And the dog's like, yeah, this isn't hard. What's the problem? So I love that cartoon. I'll never take that out because it's one of my favorites. But
you can't teach an old dog new tricks, apparently.
That's right. It's like, hey, what's the problem, lady? I can do this. Watch.
One of the things that I love about this, and you did mention that it doesn't have to be religious. We have religious people on campus who are not spiritual people who are not religious, but we have a wonderful relationship with our ministers, our rabbis, our moms, all these wonderful people on campus who do work with us around health and wellness.
Absolutely.
So no matter how you interpret this dimension of wellness, we can plug you in like that old-fashioned operator with someone, to connect you with.
Absolutely.
Whether it's yoga or journaling, all these things.
Right, and one of our major programs is our yoga program and our meditation program and our Tai Chi programs. We have some of the best yoga instructors anywhere in the country because we have a lot of students that teach. Most of our instructors are students that teach in our fitness and wellness classes. And the neat thing is that they get trained by a woman who started a school, and she doesn't charge our instructors to get trained. So they get this great 200Y, if you know yoga, that makes sense, this 200Y program for free, and then they come and teach for us. And you just don't find that in many schools. So we're really lucky from that avenue. So we also have the Authentic Excellence, and this kind of was started by Eric and my boss, Dr. Kelly Crace. He's the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, and he oversees the health and wellness thematic area. Students love this stuff. This kind of revolves around fear-based excellence versus authentic excellence. So we know students will excel when they're afraid not to, but we also know that that's not sustainable. It won't last. What we hope is that the students, while they're here, they learn that they want to take this class just because they want to learn about it. They love it. They want to learn more about it. And they're not taking it because they're afraid if they tell you they took XY class that you're going to get mad at them. So it's really important. And Kelly, I think you'll hear him do a presentation on authentic excellence also, so I won't go into too much detail. But there's times for parents that can look at this and take part in this program, and students. It's a free program, and if I would tell you, if there's many things I would say for your student to get involved in, make sure they at least touch the surface of this, because it'll make their time here at William & Mary so much better. It'll make it a lot easier on them, and we're going to have it's going to be an interesting fall. We all know that. We never try to get rid of stress. We try to teach students how to manage stress, and I think that is such an important part. The other thing that we try not to say, we never try to get students to have a work life or class or class life balance, because how many people have ever felt balanced? Probably not many of you. And if you did, teach me how, because I don't. And then all of a sudden we set ourselves up for failure because we're trying to do something we can't succeed at. We try to use the word harmony. So if they can find a class life harmony or a work life harmony, that's okay. That works better because maybe during exams you spend all your time studying. Maybe 2 weeks after that, you spend more time in your social life versus studying. So as long as you feel like you're in harmony, it makes it a little bit easier to be successful and be a little bit more resilient.
You know, a lot of parents will ask us, or families will ask us, what is this word resilience or flourish? You keep using these words all the time. And I think of a slinky. You know, if you pull a slinky all the way out, that's when you're languishing, you're stressed, but a slinky will come right back again. That's a person who's flourishing. We can stretch them with, you know, their classes, with an emergency, with you know, an illness or something that happens in the family, but they will come right back again if they're resilient. And these are the skills, Linda, that you're talking about, that we hope that if they don't have, they will gain while they're here.
And the good news is we think a lot of our students coming in this fall have had to deal with and be resilient because they were in high school last year and all of a sudden their high school got canceled. Their graduation may or may not have taken place. Their spring sports may or may not have happened. Their spring choir may or may not have happened. So they had to become a little, we hope they became resilient through that. But we know that they've had to deal with some things that no other freshman class has ever had to deal with in my lifetime. So I'm not saying it hadn't, because some things before my lifetime were probably pretty scary also. But this is a tough time, and we are sensitive to that, and we want to make sure we are reaching your students on how to best deal with that.
The great thing is if you need more information on this, at the bottom of your screen, you will see our boss's name and email address. It's kellycrace@wm.edu. Don't hesitate to reach out to him if you've got questions about Authentic Excellence or how your family member, your student can get involved in that, or even some things that might be online that you could take advantage of.
So you may ask, why am I putting this picture up right now? Who is B. McLeod and Goody Tyler? Reason I put this picture up right now is because we're getting ready to talk about two facilities, and one is called the B. McLeod Recreation Center, and the other is called the McLeod Tyler Wellness Center. And they are named after these two wonderful individuals. B, she was a student here. She did her undergraduate and graduate degrees here, and graduated and had done very, very well. She got her master's degree in business. Goody Tyler did not graduate from William & Mary, but was made an honorary alumnus about probably 8 or 9 years ago. They have completely supported health and wellness from the get-go. Their first gift, one of their first major gifts to William & Mary together, was a $1 million endowment for campus recreation equipment. So we buy a lot of great fitness and wellness equipment that doesn't come out of students' pockets. That money doesn't come from student fees. It comes from interest off that endowment that they gave us. And then it just kept getting better. And we talked to them about the new wellness center, and they just bought into it. They just were so excited about it. They gave an enormous amount of money from the get-go to help support the wellness center. And then as things happened, we found out we didn't have quite enough money to build it the way we wanted to build it. Had a great conversation with them, and they came back and gave the additional money so that we could add everything we wanted in the wellness center. And it is a gorgeous building, so I hope when you're on campus you get a chance to walk through there because it is just beautiful. So that's how we got the McLeod Tyler Wellness Center, and that just opened up, I think it's 2 years ago now. And again, it was just their passion. Well, actually, then we had another gift. So I actually became personal friends with them, which is wonderful. And we were talking one day, and when we opened the Wellness Center, we tried to offer free fitness and wellness classes for a year to see how it would go, if it would make a difference. We went from selling, and I'm trying to remember the exact numbers because it's been a while now, 200 and some passes to over 2,000 students getting the membership when it became free. At that point, we knew money was a barrier. It didn't have to be that somebody couldn't afford to pay for the pass. What it meant was they were choosing not to. So it was a barrier. And I can't tell you the number of students that have come up and said, wow, that was the class is being free. I never would have done it. I never could get my roommate to come with me. Now they want to come with me because they're free. And the numbers have just gone through the roof. Well, I was talking to them about it one day because I wasn't really sure how we were going to navigate it the next year. And lo and behold, at one lunch we were sitting at, they said, yeah, how are those classes going? And I said, well, it's great. I'm just not sure what we're going to do. Well, we think it should continue. Yeah, I do too, but I'm not really sure what we're going to do about that. No, Linda, we think it should continue. And they gave it a $2.5 million endowment again to allow us to continue to offer free fitness and wellness classes for students forever. That'll never change. because that endowment, the interest of that endowment helps us pay for all the instructors to teach the courses, so students will continue to get those for free forever. That was huge for us. I mean, it was just, our students are through the roof with this. Unfortunately, we, last December, Bea passed away unexpectedly. And it was tough for everybody on campus, certainly, her husband also, clearly. But he has stayed so involved. And to honor her, we just this fall renamed the Student Recreation Center the Bea McLeod Recreation Center. And we did that because we want everybody to know we are one umbrella. So the Wellness Center does a few different things in the Rec Center and vice versa, but we are still one department. We are still one. And having the names kind of coexist together really shows that connection. And I think that was really, really important. So that's why their picture's up there, because they have been wonderful. They have been kind to campus recreation. They have been kind to wellness. They will, and Goody will continue to do that. Just some really, really nice things. So here's the new rec center. And I just wanted to show you a picture of it because that's what it looks like at night. That's where we do most of our campus recreation programs. A lot of the wellness programs that we do are now in the wellness center. We love that. We want that. But we have, that's where all the cardio equipment is. That's where the weights are. That's where the basketball courts are. I like to say that the campus recreation center is where you really get pumped up, but your energy is really, really high. And the wellness center is where you come to calm. And your energy, it's not your energy level's low, but your emotions are a little lower. The meditation, the yoga versus a body pump class. So, they both serve a purpose and they're both equally as important. They just do different things in the different buildings. Yeah, so we also have a lot of outdoor programs. So in our area, if you're part of campus recreation, we have intramurals, which is students participating against each other within the institution. We have our sport club program, which we have 45 sport clubs, which I believe is still the largest in any school in Virginia. And those individuals compete against, and those clubs compete against other schools. So we might go to James Madison and participate in rugby. We have equestrian, we have synchronized swimming, we have ice hockey, you name it, we pretty much have it. And so those are people that are, they're kind of like a quasi-varsity program, but they don't have coaches and they don't get the funding, but it's the same concept of they go to other schools and play. We have a wonderful Tribe Adventure program, which is our outdoor program. When you talk about environmental as one of our components of one of the dimensions, every program we do is leave no trace. So whenever we do anything, we leave the space better than when we found it. So that's really important to us. But we take trips, again, the fall's going to be a little different, but normally we take trips 2 or 3 every weekend to different places in Virginia. It might be hiking, it might be boating, it might be rock climbing, it could be skiing. It just depends upon what we're doing that weekend. So that's another area of our program. The fitness and wellness, that all falls under campus recreation. So that's a big portion of our program. So we've got aquatics, so we have a pool in the facility. So we also have some trails that we can use. We have fields. Those are all part of campus recreation. There's another facility on campus called a DARE that we use in the evenings for overflow for sport clubs. So we have a lot of facilities for students to use that want to practice, want to have free play. Again, unfortunately, this is probably the hardest thing about fall for me. Informal rec is one of the most important things I think we do in our program, and that's the student that just wants to come in and play pickup basketball or play pickup volleyball or soccer or what, and we just can't do that this fall because we can't regulate the social distancing with that. But we are still creating avenues for people that want to do that. It's just going to have to look a little different. But informal rec is such an important part. People's lives are scheduled 24 hours a day. If we can give them an hour just to kind of go do what they want to do, that's really important to us. So that's basically the different components of campus recreation.
And I like to think of this building as the first wellness center.
Yes.
It was here before the one you're about to talk about now, but I always say that we've got 2 wellness centers on campus.
We absolutely do. And the next one is the McLeod-Tyler Wellness Center. That's a picture of the front of it. It's an absolutely gorgeous building, and it looks that beautiful inside, too. I promise you. That's funny because that was a rendering, and it actually is pretty close to the facility. And that's the back of the facility. It's such a gorgeous building to see, even at night, at daytime. In the spring, you can't find much better because you've got all the trees starting to bloom and stuff, and it's just really, really pretty. So what's new for the fall? I'm going to get Eric to kind of move this one a little bit.
Yeah, there's some new stuff, going on, and a lot of this stuff actually has to do with your building.
So for us, what we're going to do for campus recreation, because we know that's a concern. How can you exercise and be safe? That's what we've been working on hours upon hours every day for the last few months. So what we're going to do from the Student Recreation Center is we are going to have the students sign up for a 90-minute period. So you can go online, doesn't cost you anything, and we have an app on your phone, so you can just go on your phone and say, I want to sign up for 8 a.m. till 9:30 a.m. You sign up for it, you come in, you work out. Every hour and a half, that 90 minutes, at the end of that 90 minutes, we'll close for 30 minutes and do a deep cleaning of the whole facility. Then we'll open back up for another 90 minutes, and then we close for a half hour and do a deep cleaning of the facility. So we are going to do that every day, 7 days a week. It's because we know it's important for people to exercise. We know that's important. We are going to be, everybody in health and wellness is going to be doing some online programming, but also in-person programming. So if you want to see a counselor, you can say, hey, it's really important that I go see a counselor face-to-face, and that'll happen. If you say, hey, I'm more comfortable doing a Zoom meeting or I don't know whether they use Zoom or not, but a online meeting, then absolutely, you can do that also. Same thing with the health center. We all know about telehealth now because everybody's doing it. But if you really want to come in and see the doctors or the nurses, you can do that, absolutely. Same thing with our program. If you want to take a fitness class in person, you can do that. Or you can do it online, and we tape most of those. We have a YouTube channel, and if you want to work out at midnight because you're in the room and you're tired of studying, just pull up the YouTube channel and you can take a fitness class. That's the nice thing. I think that's an area we won't lose. Even when COVID goes away, we will continue with some of the online programming because we're hearing from our students that is so important to them that they can do it when they want to do it. And that's a key piece for us. So that's kind of how we're going to handle the recreation center. Intramurals, we are still going to have things go on. Now, we're not going to have flag football, but we'll have punt, pass, and kick. We're not going to necessarily have 5-on-5 basketball, but we'll have a 3-point shooting contest. We can play a horse game. We can do all kinds of stuff that still allows you to be active and still do the sport that you want and social distance and stay away from everybody, but still get that activity. And we hope to do something. We'll do something like that every single week. We'll have something out there for our students. We're looking at tennis. We're looking at pickleball. We're looking at some things where you can actually do that in social distance. Now, one thing that it is important, because we went back and forth a few times, to know is anytime you're in the rec center, like anywhere else on campus, you have to wear a mask. Even when you're exercising, you have to wear a mask. That might mean that some people who may not be in as good a shape, or some people who are in really good shape that aren't used to wearing a mask, might have to lower their intensity a little bit at first. We found some studies that show really the oxygen level does not go down when you wear a mask. It feels like it does, and it feels like you're having a harder time, and it's probably true because you probably are having a harder time breathing, but the oxygen level doesn't go down. So from a safety standpoint, we're okay there. We're just going to have to encourage our people not to necessarily go 150% when they first start working out with a mask, because it's just not going to be achievable. And we don't want you passing out. So that's important for us. But the mask, we felt like in order to keep everybody safe, we've got every single piece of the equipment in the building is at least 10 feet apart. So we've got, not only are you 10 feet apart, but you're wearing a mask. We've got all kinds of wipes for students to wipe down the machine before they use it and when they get off the machine. And every 2 hours, we're coming in with a deep clean to do the whole area where the machines and the weights and everything are. So we're making it as safe as we can possibly make it, because we know that's an important part of that's a good social piece for students is to hang out in the rec center and work out and see their friends over there. So that's really important to us. So for the McLeod Tyler Wellness Center, You'll still be able to come in and do the same things we've always done. Again, there'll be less people in the in-person classes, but they're also going to be doing deep cleaning after every single activity. We are going to continue to offer massage therapy, again, in a safe way. The massage therapist will have a mask and have everything on, and after that person leaves the room, we completely sanitize the room. We've bought the equipment that allows us to come in and fog all areas as soon as they're used. So after a massage, it'll completely be fogged. Everything will be sanitized within 1 to 3 minutes is the chemical that we're using, which is also a green product, so it's environmentally friendly, because that goes back to one of our dimensions. So that's kind of what we're doing a little bit differently. Eric, do you have anything you want to add?
I love too, it's something that's new, and we started this right when the pandemic was coming out, is the Virtual Wellness Center.
Absolutely.
But with a colleague from Linda's building and a colleague from my building, so Campus Recreation and the McLeod-Tyler Wellness Center, they created this virtual wellness space where there are classes that you could take 24 hours a day because they're pre-recorded. Or there could be live ones with our art therapist on Wednesdays. And it's just fascinating to see how we actually set some of the standards that other universities around the nation are following now.
Absolutely. We had that up within 48 hours, which was really interesting. We got calls from, we're all part of national organizations, and I happen to be part of one that deals around recreation. I had colleagues say, hey, can we take your website? Can we have your web address and we'll just offer that because we're a small school and we don't have the ability to do that? And I said, absolutely, please. If we're helping your students stay healthy, we're doing our jobs. A couple schools, I think it was Harvard and one other, said, can we use your stuff? Absolutely. So they modeled theirs right after ours. So that was exciting. And that virtual wellness center will not go away. I mentioned it once, but there is actually a wellness app you could get for your phone. Again, it's free, it's easy. It allows you to register for classes. It allows you to register to use the facility. It allows you to know what's going on at what time, what programs are going on. It's got an area for the counseling center, for the health center. So that would be advantageous for all of our students. I wish I did not put the web address up there, but if you want that, please reach out to Eric or myself and we'll get that to you. But if you just go on the App Store and put William and Mary Wellness, it will pop up also. And that works with a group called Fusion, which is the same system we use in the rec center. When you swipe your ID to get in the building, that's the exact same system. So they talk to each other beautifully.
And our email addresses are going to be on the very last
yes,
slide,
they are.
too. And you know what I love too, Linda, is, because of everything that's going on, we didn't drop our standards. We actually maintained or increased the standards. So when we talk about telemedicine or telecounseling, those are still HIPAA and FERPA compliant. So we didn't lose anything through this. Those things stay the same, but other things have actually elevated. So, in amazing ways.
But I will tell you, I don't know about Eric, but I am so ready for your students to come back. The thing I love most about what I do is the interaction I have with the students and providing opportunities for them. And not having them here since March has been painful. It's not, I'm not saying that for any other reason than it's genuinely what I love about my job. We have over 80% of students participate in some form of campus recreation. And my guess would be, and I haven't been able to get this figure yet because we can't get some stuff from the counseling center, from the health center for FERPA reasons, but my guess would be we're probably about 92 to 94% of all students participate in health and wellness. Yeah. And that's pretty impressive. So, and I'd love to say it's because we are wonderful, but we are, but that's not the reason. The reason is the students that come here are wonderful. They want to participate, they want to learn, they want to grow. And we're going to provide the opportunity that makes it the best it can be for them, but they have to come, and they do, and that's what's so important to us. Now,
I was thinking about the thing you were mentioning earlier about authentic wellness, authentic excellence, where there are, if we under-attend something, it becomes a want. If we over-attend it, becomes a need. They value this.
Right.
They come to our programs because there's a value inside of them that lets them do that.
And that's what's important to us. The hard thing with this one is we normally have a whole crowd of people that ask some great questions, and we give some great information from those questions. I feel bad that we can't do that for you right now, but you can certainly reach out to myself or Eric at any time, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. I mean, if you send me something at midnight, you may not hear back till sometime the next day, but we are happy to reach back out and answer any questions you might have or just any concerns you might have. It's important for us that you're comfortable with this situation for your students too. We know they want to come back. We don't worry about that. What's important is you as family members want your students to come back and feel good about your students coming back. That's also important to us, and we've spent a lot of time making sure that we can create an atmosphere that we think is going to work. And we know we might have to shift at some point. It may be we think this works, maybe we think a half hour is long enough to clean the rec center, and we find out, oh my gosh, we need 45 minutes. Then we'll shift. We know that. We know we might have to make some changes, but we will be paying attention to that and making sure that we're making it safe. And I know Eric is going to be doing a lot of hands-on stuff. Myself as a director, I'll be one of the ones out there cleaning. So it's not like I'm just going to have some people cleaning and I'm going to be sitting back in my office going, wow, that's a lot of work for them. I'll be out there with them because that's important to us, that we are out there and we are supporting you and your students. So thank you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you joining us for this, and please reach out for any questions you might have, and we'll be happy to answer those.
I said we are all in this, doing this work together, and that's how we stay healthy together.
Right. That's our theme for the year, healthy together. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Linda and Eric. I hope you could see from their presentation that our commitment to wellness will extend far beyond your students' first semester at William & Mary, but rather we hope to instill a lifelong commitment to wellness. We have so many incredible professionals and resources available to help students care for themselves and others in their community. Following the theme of resources available to your student, one of the most critical resources available in our community is the William & Mary Police Department. Whether you are a student or a family member, we want your experience at William & Mary to be a safe and enjoyable one. The William & Mary Police Department provides professional police, public safety, emergency communications, and critical emergency management services that help keep our community safe. Here to discuss ways we build a safe community is Chief Deb Cheeseborough.
Welcome, parents. I am very honored to be here today to be able to talk with you about the safety and security of your student while they are here at William & Mary during the academic year. I know in the past we have had several questions from parents, so what I have done is put together a presentation that hopefully covers most of your concerns or questions. In the event that there are additional items that might come up for you, I would encourage you to go on the William & Mary Police Department website, see if your answer is there, and if not, please email me and we'll provide that information to you. So let's talk about the police department, our staffing, our mission, kind of all the basics that you might be wondering about. Who is it here at William & Mary that tries to take care of your student and keep your student out of trouble, in addition to you, of course? I am Deb Cheeseborough. I am the Associate Vice President for Public Safety and the Chief of Police. I have been here at William & Mary for 6 years now. Before that, I was at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts for 9 years. And then before that, I was at the University of Michigan for 5 years as their deputy director. So what I tell the students is, from University of Michigan of 40,000 students, as deputy director, I went from one of the largest schools to North Carolina School of the Arts, which had about 1,000 students, so one of the smallest schools. And then I came to William & Mary, which is the best school. And I truly believe that. I so enjoy my position here, and I so enjoy working with the students that you allow to come to our school. I want to thank you for that. They are amazing, amazing students. So the rest of my biography is sort of up there in case you're interested educationally. I do have all the way from my associates through my PhD. And I think I have the variety of education as well as specialized experience and training that really serves well for a campus community. And as I continue to talk about all the things we do to help your students and the things that we believe in as a police department that drive our decisions, I hope you will see some of that education and experience at work. That is the card that your students will be seeing if they call for the cavalry. And the first question I always get from your students is whether or not we are the real police. And I always chuckle at that. Real police being, can we make arrests? Do we do investigations? Are we sworn? Do we carry weapons? And the answer is yes to all of those things. We have the same training and we have the same experience, the same equipment as you see at the City of Williamsburg, the Virginia State Police, any of the other police departments in the area or throughout the Commonwealth. So in fact, we are the real police. How we have our department staffed. We have 22 full-time police officers. We have a couple of part-time police officers, and we have some auxiliary. So what that means for us is that we can staff 24/7. The police department is always open. There is never a time your student cannot get an answer to a question or get a service provided to them by coming through us. We have 5 dispatch personnel. So we have 24/7 emergency response communications available to them. They can dial 911, they can dial our main number, and they will always be talking to a person real time. We do not close and have somebody else handle our call after hours. We always are there and we always answer our calls ourselves. So the relationship with the other police departments is really based on our authority. So our authority is all of William and Mary property and the roadways directly adjacent. And William and Mary property is defined as owned, leased, or controlled. So even though we may have a building that's not on what we consider main campus, but we lease it a couple of blocks away, that would still be our jurisdiction. Because so many of our students live in the surrounding area, and because sometimes we have students involved in things that are off campus, we try and work with the City of Williamsburg Police Department as very close partners to ensure good communications between the agencies and a good understanding of what it is our students may represent within our community and what other city police officers can expect from our students. We also have an incredible relationship with James City County Police. We have a good relationship with the Virginia State Police. So I could go down a list of agencies, and I do this to let you know that whether your student is on campus or they go off campus, there is good communications and understandings between the area police departments. And typically we will get a phone call if there is an issue or concern or problem with your student, even if they are not within our campus at the time. So our mission. I sort of like to just talk about the mission instead of doing all of the bullet points. And this is the way I like to think about it and the way I talk to our police officers about it. We are here 24/7 to not only keep your students safe, but to make your student feel safe. We are a support service. Everything we do is about making sure that your student, our faculty, our staff can come to work every day and do their jobs and not be worried about their own personal safety or security. And when you think about it, those are two very different things. I can have a community that is safe. I can show you all the statistics. But if they start reading headlines about other areas in the country, or they experience something when they're away from campus, perhaps on a break, and it's not a good experience, and they come back, and there's some element of fear that has developed. What I want our officers to do is to work in a fashion where we establish a really good relationship with students so they can feel comfortable talking to us, let us know what those fears are, and that we can meet whatever that challenge is. Let me give you an example of how we sometimes try and develop that relationship with our students. And I think this is probably the best example that I could give anybody. So we tell, again, our officers these things up here. Be safe, feel safe. We want really good communications. Because of that, we do non-police things. So based on our values, which are up here, I want them to make a decision every single day about whether they provide a service or not. So here's the example. A student in Wawa, and if you haven't been there yet, ask your student, or you will probably drive through there at some point in time. A student at Wawa was on her way to do a presentation for a class. She came out, jumps in her car doesn't start. Her car is full of boxes for materials for her to hand out and for her to use in her presentation in class. And this was an extremely important presentation for her grade. She has nobody else to call. She's not on campus, car won't start, and she called the William & Mary Police Department. And I am so proud of what our officers did. They said, we want you to feel as if you can call us for anything and we will help you figure it out. And they used our values. And they said, if we're part of the community, if we're supporting the community, then we need to try and do some things that are not traditional policing. She calls and says, here's the situation. I don't know what to do, and starts crying. As you can imagine, if you're that student, this is the most important thing to them in the world at that point in time. And we happen to have some officers that were available, and it took them about 2 seconds to say, you know what, we're on our way over. They went over there, they picked up the student, they picked up the materials, they got the student to the classroom, they lugged the materials up the stairs and made sure she was all right and all set before they left. Someday when that student is fearful, someday when that student hears information that somebody else is experiencing something that perhaps they need help with, that student is going to feel more comfortable calling the William & Mary Police Department. And that's what we're all about. Establish relationships, increase communication, let people feel safe in the community. So the values that we really have set out here, we think cover an awful lot of the behaviors and decisions that the officers have to deal with every single day. So when you talk about integrity, to me, this is the fundamental nature of policing. And quite honestly, this past year, policing has not done that well when it comes to this value. Generally speaking, nationally speaking, we have not done a good job at all. All of you know that, you've seen it, we know it, we've seen it. But what I can tell you here at William & Mary is this: there is not one police officer that walks through my door who gets hired that doesn't go through a background investigation, doesn't go through vetting, doesn't go through proper training, doesn't go through proper discussion about values and how we apply them, and doesn't go through extensive conversation about integrity and how we present ourselves in the community. What's happened in some of the other locations is absolutely unconscionable. And I want you to know that is not the William & Mary way. For our police department, integrity is the number one. And as you follow down, you can see engaging in the community is one of our 4 basic tenets. And hopefully the example I gave you demonstrates that our officers make those decisions as those questions come in day to day based on the value. Is that something police would normally go do? No. But wait a minute, based on we're supposed to be engaged in the community and increase communication, is that something we should go do? Yes, because we have officers available and that student is in distress. So either we go or we make sure somebody else can. So the third one, when you look at, is professionalism. There's a time when people looked at campus policing and said, y'all no more than kind of glorified security people with no training, and you really don't have much impact on safety and security on a campus. That time is long gone, folks. We are a professional police department. We have all the same training, as I said, and in addition to that, we have specialized training that we do just because we are a campus. So our officers have to go through additional training on interpersonal communications with individuals in our age group, with individuals that are going to an institution of higher education. And we require additional training on things like active shooter response. So we do everything we have to make sure that our professional police officers can deliver every service in this specific environment. And that's what's critically important to us. And lastly, fair and impartial policing, which sort of brings us full circle back to my comments about things that have happened nationally. In our agency, I have published our use of force policy. I have published our mission, our values. I have published a right to intervene. So what that means is officers have an obligation, if they see something going on that is not fair, is not impartial, is not consistent with our rules, regulations, and values, that they have an obligation to report that, to stop it first and then report it to us. So I have tried to take a move to publish, to be transparent about many of the questions that have come forward this past summer, and I will continue to do so. We publish our statistics on traffic stops. We publish our statistics on arrests. And we do that broken down by ethnicity, race, and other factors. We want our community to know what we're doing, and we want to be able to have the data to show us and make sure that we are doing what we say is important. So hopefully you'll have a chance on our website to go back and look a little bit more at these values. But they are more than words on paper. They drive every single thing we do every single day, and that's the only way it works. So there's a couple things you can do to help us out. And I want to start by talking about things that we offer to the community. And the way that you can help us out is make sure, even though we do orientation for the students, but please visit again with your student and make sure they have done all the things they need to do to sign up for some of these emergency services that are available to them. So the first thing I'll start off with is the notification system. So we have an emergency notification system. And it is layered. There is duplicate effort. And the reason we do that is built-in redundancy in case one would fail for some reason, then the other mechanism would go through. For an example, if we have a tornado warning, we send a message to all the students through the RAVE system, RAVE Alert, so it would be called Tribe Alert, and the RAVE is the system that we use. What you will see is that it'll come through email, it'll come through cell phone, it'll come through cell text. You will hear a siren on campus. So again, redundancy, many ways to get the message to your students. And we do that, again, on purpose. And you have the ability to sign up for that system as well as a secondary number. So make sure your student has gone through the steps. And because they're on the website, and because you can go in and do this online, I'm just going to note to you the personal information view update going through our banner system. Please look at that. Please encourage your student to look at that and make sure that they are signed up for that mass notification system. Everybody's in the email to begin with, but we need them to actually put in their cell phone numbers, and if you want to be a secondary number, to get that in as well. So you can help us out in that regard. And you'll see this is additionally, again, on the website. You'll go in and you'll be able to enter in this information. And the emergency notification system, there are a couple of nuances to it. One is what we call a timely warning. And sometimes we have individuals who ask, well, what happens if there's a violent crime on campus? Well, when there's a violent crime on campus, and few and far between here at William & Mary, we are obligated through a national system called Clery to send out a timely warning. And we will use that cell phone number and that RAVE Alert system to do that. So we will send that information through that system. And the second you see there at the bottom is extraordinary circumstance. And that may just be something that happens close by. It doesn't require we send something out, but because we may have students going in that direction, we may just decide to err on the side of getting additional information out. We just call that extraordinary circumstance. So many people ask me whether or not we train students in active shooter response. And we do have a video training component that is posted on our website. Our students can go in through their banner access and get to that video. We tell them that. And they can watch that video, which goes through very, very detailed information about what to do if you're in a room or in a building or in an area and then you think you hear an active shooter event starting. So they have that available to them. We also hand out cards that they can put in their wallets that again go back through the salient points of what to do. And we use the run, hide, fight model, which most universities do. So yes, they will get information about what to do in the event they hear an active shooter. All of our staff are trained in responding to active shooter situations. We have 3 people on our department that are active shooter trainers. So we take this very seriously and we update our training often. So another area I'd like to point out to you is one that we often get questions about because laws differ by state. So in Virginia, what might be important for parents to know about and obviously for our students to know about, which we will inform them later on during their orientation, is what particular laws do we have to keep in mind. So in Virginia, if you are underage in possession of alcohol, right, that's going to be still a criminal offense here in Virginia, albeit a small one, but it would rate an interaction with an officer. We may not actually make an arrest or write a ticket, but what we might do is refer the individual, your individual student, to the Dean of Students' office, and they would take care of that infraction, and they'd do it as a university rule violation. But if it happens repetitively, then we probably will step in and make a different decision on that. So the other areas where they might encounter the police department is if they have controlled substances, if either they're in possession of them or if they are providing them. And in that case, other than marijuana, which I'm going to talk about right after this point, in that case, then there probably would be criminal charges that are brought. What I do want to tell you is there are times where we do interact with our students in this regard. There are times when our students might not make a good decision. And we do wind up having to either bring perhaps a misdemeanor charge of some sort. What we try and do is make sure they have all the information that they need and that we can facilitate and help them through the process as best as we can. We don't believe it has to be necessarily an adversarial process. So if we do get into that situation, please know that we are going to treat your student appropriately. We are still going to be professional with that student if we have to go through an enforcement action and try and help them get through it to the other end. Primarily what we try and tell them in that case is this is not the end of the world, right? It's one decision you made. It may result in a consequence, but let's walk through that process, see if there's a consequence, and please don't think that this is going to be something that just totally ends your world. So I want you to know that we are there to support, even in times of enforcement. And the one that I really want to make sure I clarify with you, because there's a lot of confusion about this one. It is different from state to state now. And Virginia just made a change. Many people think that in Virginia we went to allowing marijuana. That is not true. What we did do is decriminalization. So decriminalization means there's still an intervention. There's still contact with the police officer if we see them in possession of marijuana, but we write them a simple ticket. They pay a simple flat fine, which is $25 at this point in time, and then they proceed with life. So let me clarify that. We did not completely legalize marijuana. What we did do is take it out of the criminal realm and put it in the civil realm, which means upon contact, if we take enforcement action, it would be writing a simple ticket, which is a civil infraction, which is just like a traffic ticket, and they would pay a flat fine. So that is the change in Virginia. As we start to close here, I want to make sure that you know that the William & Mary Police Department wants to hear any complaint, any call for service, any concern your student or anybody else has. If you think there's somebody that's a threat on campus or is going through some crisis that they need some assistance, you can always filter that information through the police department. And you can always filter it in an anonymous way. If your student is afraid to come in and say, I'm so-and-so and I'm giving you this information about somebody else, they don't have to do it that way. We have anonymous number, we have an anonymous email address, and we actually have anonymous walk-in complaints. If a student walks into our office and says to the dispatcher, I want to give you information, but I don't want to have to identify myself, that dispatcher will take the information without asking for identification so that we can take the information and move from there. We find that that makes it helpful for the students because a lot of times they have some pressure, right, not to share information. They want to do it anyway, so this gives them a way to do it so we can look at the situation and see if somebody else might need some help. And lastly, this is my summary. We are here to help your students. We are not the gotcha police. We are the police that are here to facilitate William and Mary. We can make arrests if somebody comes in and makes a threat, and we will. We can respond to all those situations, and we will. But my pledge to you is that we are going to work in a fashion that best facilitates your student being able to get through their education. And we will be just as happy, well, not maybe just as happy, but close to just as happy as you are when they walk across that stage for graduation. Because we know we've had a part of that. We know we've been able to keep them safe to do that. And that's really what's important, most important to us. So I will also tell you as parents that some of your students are going to come to campus. You're going to start calling them day one. And they're not going to answer your call. And you're going to call again, and they're still not going to answer. And a day or two later, you're going to be worried about them. And you're going to call my dispatch. And you're going to say, I tried to call my son or my daughter, and they wouldn't pick up, and I don't know what to do. We'll actually have somebody check on your son or daughter. And we have literally had an officer tap the student on the shoulder and say, call your mom or dad while I'm standing here. And they will roll their eyes and they will do it. Happens every single year. Just know that they're spending their first days getting used to being a college student. They're getting to know their friends, new friends. They're getting to know their campus. Please don't get worried if they don't return your first or second call. They are taking part very actively in their new life, many hours in a day, just to get acclimated and ready to go. But if you do get worried about them, whether it's the first few days or any time, you can always call us. And if it's something we don't think is something we can check on right away, we'll find somebody who can. So what I pledge to you is that we will do everything humanly possible to keep your students safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Cheeseborough, for that presentation. And thank you, William and Mary Police, for working to keep our community safe every day. This concludes our presentations this afternoon. Today we learned about how you can support your student as a family member, ways your student will be able to explore their curiosities through a liberal arts curriculum, and the many resources that exist to help keep our community safe and well, both physically and mentally. Family orientation does not end now, though. Tomorrow, August 17th, and Tuesday, August 18th, will feature a variety of breakout sessions for you to attend. This will be a choose-your-own-adventure style schedule, which allows you to choose sessions most relevant to you and your student. I would encourage you to spend some time this evening creating a game plan for attending these sessions. Please keep in mind that all sessions will be recorded and available for viewing after the conclusion of family orientation. If you have questions about today's program or want to learn more about tomorrow's sessions, please reach out to us at families@wm.edu. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, and have a wonderful evening.